That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Hey, it's Brent Martineau. Check out Action Sports Jacks weekdays from 3 until 6 on ESPN 690.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. No plans by Giants running back Saquon Barkley to sign his franchise tender before the start of New York's offseason program on Monday. He's not eligible to take part in the offseason program unless he's under contract. If negotiations between the sides continue to remain at a standstill, it could be a while before Barkley joins the Giants, says Canty and Carlin co-host Chris Canty.
If you're Saquon, you got to try to keep as many hits off your body as you possibly can before you go into the regular season. Now, I don't think it does him any good to sit out the entirety of the year like Le'Veon Bell did, but I do think Saquon could take it, right up to the end of training camp and before the beginning of the regular season.
Chris Canty on Greeny. 2 win-or-go-home games in the play-in on the way tonight in the NBA. Leads off with Raptors-Bulls. Winner takes on the Heat for 8th in the East. Then Thunder-Pelicans. Timberwolves await that winner for 8th in the West. Covered 6:30 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7 Eastern ESPN TV. Jake Paul and Nate Diaz will square off August 5th in the pay-per-view bout between 2 of the biggest personalities in combat sports.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom! Yeah! Boom! Jack! Boom!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
I don't make the titles around here, but I kind of chuckle when I see this one. Is Calvin Ridley still mad at Brent?
It's a question. It needs to be answered.
Calvin Ridley fans were mad at Brent
Yes,
more than
they
Calvin
were.
Ridley was mad at Brent.
Calvin wasn't mad at you, Brent.
Nah, I didn't even know how fine Brent Martineau is.
Oh, he will, though.
I mean, he knew enough to answer the tweet. He's looking at those verified comments.
So I was asking somebody this. I was like, how did he know about the tweet? He's not following Brent, most likely. Maybe he's listening in on ESPN 690.
No,
Yes, he should be.
I'm sure he's like searching for Calvin Ridley on Twitter every day, and this hit his feed.
Yeah, but somebody brought up a good point. I was just talking to about this. They said, because I do this for the Jags, you guys have some things that you follow, you have like Google alerts for?
Yeah.
Right, so I have Jaguars, and really I think it's the only one I have. And so I'll get anything, like even if it's something about the car, right? Then I'll get
No, that'll happen to me too. I got one set up for Jacksonville Radio. I got one set up for my name. There's a dude who works
Your
for
name?
Oh,
you
yeah.
have one for your name? Does it ever work? Does it ever pop up?
Well, there's a really famous radio guy who works for NPR who I know a lot about, whose name is Aaron Schachter, but
Really?
I never see anything written about me. The cool thing is, if I ever get fired from this job again, that I could just pretend I'm him, because he's got great credentials.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Steal them.
Yeah, no, totally.
And you show up, they're like, what?
It's not stealing if my name's also Aaron Schachter.
Well, that's true. I mean,
Just borrowing.
they've been
Not
talking
even
about
borrowing.
me this whole time.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like, oh, that's a good idea. That's probably what he's got. He's probably got a Google alert for Calvin Ridley. But I'm not sure that would have showed up in the context of where it did.
No, because Google doesn't necessarily, well, I guess it does. Technically, Google will scrape Twitter for tweets, but it wouldn't have shown up so immediately. No, I bet you it hit his feed because of the algorithm. He's probably looking at all the Jaguar stuff every day.
Yeah,
he's
that's a
probably
good call.
responding to Calvin Ridley tweets all the time, and
'Cause
so
he's done
Twitter's
it.
feeding it to him. Yeah,
We've seen it happen to other people. Other people have gotten cooked like you, Brent.
like Brent,
And so you just got added to the list. Maybe he's trying to cook everybody. I think it's a good idea.
Chef Ridley out here.
Putting people in their place. And Martineau just happened to fall on the list. Unfortunately, Brent. Sorry for you, buddy.
Yeah. So that actually makes sense. It's more just algorithm. With Twitter, more recently has gone to crazy algorithm, right? Stuff. Not crazy, but I'm just it's very Facebooky in that sense. It feels like.
Yeah, well, it's actually if you really want to get in the weeds about it.
Oh, boy.
A lot of these platforms will set up their algorithm and tweak it, but not really change it drastically unless there's a real problem. The difference with Twitter and all the other platforms is it has been changed drastically multiple times over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So you may have enjoyed your feed at some point, and then it's just wildly different 3 weeks later. And then another 3 weeks from then, it was like, all right, this is now different again.
Oh, is it changing that much?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Based on the check marks, because now there's this tiered system of check marks and who gets surfaced in the comments and who gets surfaced in your timeline. And it's real complicated.
Craig on Facebook says there's a For You feed now. So maybe Calvin just has his For You feed literally set as him.
And that's the default, by the way. Yeah.
That is a default because I'm looking right now. I'm under the For You.
Yeah. Yeah, your following feed is like the people you like, and then the For You feed is what Twitter goes, here's what you really need. Here's what the algorithm thinks you really want to know
It's
about.
so funny. Like, I do not use these platforms to that degree. Like, I don't pay that much attention to what's going on the outskirts of my phone to even see the For You, the following, all this stuff. Like, I just scroll through Twitter and see what I see.
Yeah.
There ain't no way you just said, I don't use these platforms like that. And you're on Twitter consistently 25/8 tweeting everything that pops in your mind.
But he just said his eyes are fixed in the middle where the content is, not on the outskirts.
I didn't even recognize the For You and following. Like that, you could switch it.
Never heard of her.
I really didn't.
For a man that spends as much time as you, bro, maybe look around, see what you're doing.
But that's what I don't. I don't sit there dissecting the Twitter Bird app. I just kind of see what's up on the timeline.
Yeah, it's very transactional for you.
No way he said
it is.
The
It's very
Twitter
transactional.
Bird app.
Why is that boomery for you?
Oh my gosh.
Is he boomering out right now?
This is incredible.
I'm like boomerang right now. Hey, here's the deal. I know what you're talking about, though, because what has changed, we're doing this committed to the uncommitted on no gate fees.
Yeah, totally.
And it's interesting how many things are popping up on my feed about uncommitted athletes now.
Yeah.
Like, that is like real deal stuff. I don't know if that's because we're tweeting it out, sharing it, or I'm saying it, or what.
Yes.
Like, I don't know
yes
what the
to all
reasoning
of it.
is.
Yes to all of it. Yes.
You know what's another crazy thing is, like, we know that we kind of say, wow, isn't it crazy? Like, I just talked about Hey Dude shoes, and now it's up on everything that I see, Facebook
totally.
and Twitter.
Because they hear you, dude.
And I get it, like, but we're okay with it.
I don't know if we're
I'm not okay
with
with it at all.
Well, we seem like we're okay with it because it's not like we stopped doing it.
Well, the trade-off is like what? You don't have a phone?
No, well, yeah, two things working against you is it's extremely inconvenient to opt out of all of it.
Yeah.
And number two is it's extremely convenient to be in on all of it, even if you think it's creepy.
They got us.
Because now you're getting relevant advertisements and you're getting relevant suggestions that matter to you and the content you're talking about most of the time.
That's the thing. Like, I'll occasionally hit him with I'll ask Amanda, hey, you trying to get, like, wings? And then wings will pop up. I'm like, look, zero delivery fee. How about that? Let's just do it. Google's
They are
working for
genius,
us.
man. They know what you're thinking, right? Isn't that kind of the story?
And it's only going to go more that way with these automated cars, where now you're in your automated car linked to your Google or Apple account.
Just starts taking you somewhere.
Well, they know what kind of food you like based on your Uber Eats orders and receipts that are in your Gmail that Google has already admitted that they surf through to get some content from you. So they're looking at your food receipts and they're going, oh, you're about to pass your favorite restaurant. Let me throw an ad up on the infotainment system for 2-for-1s that this restaurant is paying me to advertise. And then suddenly you're getting these hyper-targeted ads literally in the car.
Robots.
Wow. Hey, who else could, not that we did this intentionally, can we try to get anybody else on today with a projection or two? I just love that. I love how, like, you didn't have to be listening. I was still getting strays late last night.
Good.
Like,
So silly.
You should have.
Here's
Nobody
what
understood the context of the
None
whole
of it.
thing.
That's what bothered me about the whole thing. Like I created a clip. If anyone wants to see what we're talking about, it's on all the platforms, a little social clip we did. But the last tweet we read in the social clip is from one of the funnier handles that I've ever heard. Is evil Vince McMahon as a Muppet.
Which, by the way, said I almost had to go back at him because he's part of the media that should be replaced around here.
Oh.
I think it's Casey's burner account.
It might be. You know what?
Like, I really think it's Casey's
Is
burner.
that Casey's Finsta? It might be. But the thing I hated about this guy is that you were literally arguing the same thing he was. We're like, is this is seeming low? And then he's like, oh, typical Jags media. First of all, typical Jags media, you're an idiot. Because typical Jags, you're mad at the media for sandbagging so that we can all celebrate? When something good happens, if he's like, oh, Ridley will only get 800 yards, typical Jags media. All right, if he gets 900, we're all happy. What are you so mad about? No one's saying Ridley's going to suck. It's just annoying. Listen.
I love it. Thanks for the defense here. That's very nice,
I hate
Aaron
it.
Jackson-Bond.
I'm with these Twitter people.
I know where you were.
You got to get this man.
Oh, I know where you
know
are.
what I'm saying? You got to get him.
Hey, how about I just saw this probably because it just came up since we were talking about it, maybe.
Oh, boy.
But Mike Clay actually responded to Can't Be See Rid's comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron's actually super upset about that.
Not super upset. Here's the deal.
Why are you
Brett.
upset? First of all, let me read it. for
Okay,
everybody.
read it.
Calvin is taking the, in capital letters, over on my 70-catch, 875-yard projection for 14 games for him this season. Which side are you all on? Lots of mouths to feed in that offense, says Mike Clay. And I'm sure he's got some responses that we could get into, but why are you unhappy about that?
Just because we took Mike Clay's content from ESPN and did a segment on it.
Yeah, we did.
And then to let Mike Clay know that his work is getting used and appreciated, I tagged him on every platform I put this clip on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he liked the videos on multiple platforms. So he saw it, he engaged with the video. But instead of retweeting us or reposting our content, where we could do a little hand in hand, hey, we told people about your content, you could tell them about our content. He goes to the big famous football player and he goes, here's a guy that didn't even respond to me that I'm going to go ahead and respond to.
He just turned away from the mic, didn't he?
Yeah,
I did.
He did.
But, Ridley wasn't talking to you, Mike Clay.
He was talking to Brent.
He was talking to Bert. He was mad at Bert, not you.
Brent was under projecting his skills. Get him. I love that you threw it in there so then a bunch more people knew that Brent was an idiot. I loved that part about it.
Last night.
But give us some love.
Last night, 6:45 p.m., Ridley on the phone with Jalen Ramsey talking about how much they both hate Brent.
Is this the guy you had blocked that you were texting about?
Is this the guy
Is
you
the guy
told me to
you told me
worry
about?
about? Watch out. When you go to Jacksonville, watch out for this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be awesome if players actually did that.
Oh, if you had a most wanted poster up in the locker room.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Least wanted.
I bet
actually, it's definitely happened.
It's definitely happened. It doesn't happen in Jacksonville probably very often, but it happens in other markets. I guarantee it. Like Philadelphia, there's Doug Peterson right now. If he's got a player that he really likes and he's going to Philly next, he's like, hey, just keep your eye on this guy right here, right? No doubt, he knows.
Yeah.
Hey, here's the deal. I'm not mad at Mike Clay. I know you are a little bit, but that's okay. Listen, we already got the C Rid bump.
Yeah, we did.
So we did okay.
Appreciate you, Calvin. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Calvin.
Go back at him next time, too. Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to number
in the
0.
show if you want. And now, listen, if I wanted just clicks, I would come back today and say something outlandish about Calvin Ridley.
It'd be too pathetic.
To get him going again.
It'd be too pathetic.
Yeah. But we're not going to do that.
No, we'll let the other guys
Because I didn't do it in the first place, even though Kasey says I did.
It kind of looked like you did.
It kind of looked like
it. Just the way that it played out.
It is funny when you tweet during the show. First of all, I make a ton of mistakes tweeting during the show usually.
But you keep doing it.
And I keep doing
It's
it
the best
anyway.
part.
And then you just do lose the context. If you just jumped in the conversation or just see a tweet hours later, I can see why people just lost the context. I'm still not sure why they got mad at me. It was a fill-in-the-blank question.
It really was.
I didn't say that he was going to do that.
No.
I said if he did that, it would mean what?
Meanwhile,
it meant Brent's an idiot.
It means
is what
Brent's an
basically
idiot.
said.
Yes,
Meanwhile,
correct.
Ridley got the assignment. Ridley saw the tweet and he's like, no, that just wouldn't be me. He's not mad at you.
You're right. He wasn't mad at me, even though Kasey thinks he is.
I don't know. Again, you lose the context on Twitter, right? We don't have the luxury of knowing what Calvin Ridley was thinking there. He might be saying, this guy's so dumb, I couldn't possibly put up numbers this low. What an idiot. Who would even think that? Could it be me? Could not be me. That's what I think it is.
So much. This job is the greatest.
Yeah.
It really is. Especially when you can carry over and talk about it again to begin the next show, and it's even more fun, maybe.
Really.
At least we're having fun with it. Hey, this is not fun. I told you guys this the other day, that I think the draft process is way too long, right?
Yeah.
And I think you could have had the draft on April 1st. You probably could have done it even earlier. I'm okay with the new league year starting and maybe right after that. Wouldn't that be kind of fun? You go free agency or new league year, free agency, and then a week and a half later, boom, you go right into the draft.
It'd be amazing.
The reason why they might not do that on the calendar is they might be respectful to something like March Madness, right? And maybe even earlier like this month to say something like the Masters. Maybe they're trying to find the right fit on the calendar to not also, I don't think they care about those things as much, but not at least pull viewers away and split viewers up.
Well, at least ESPN, who has the draft, has those other, like they have rights to the Masters and they have rights to conference tournaments, not the NCAA tournament. So, like, you're kind of stepping on your own toes there, wouldn't you be?
But exactly.
The issue
maybe
there,
the TV execs have helped with the calendar, to your point.
Maybe, and I'm sure they have a say or at least some influence in the matter, but the reality is ESPN, just like everybody else, bids for the rights for that broadcast, and if it was hurting the NFL to do it during those times as opposed to maybe a more ideal or optimal schedule, then they would just find a different bidder, wouldn't they?
Well, not necessarily. I think they value their partners and their insight, and they get help. Listen, that's not always their expertise, right? The NFL doesn't know everything. So they lean on people that know a lot more or have research on a lot more. And I get the whole thing. I understand where it's at in the calendar. It's a reason why people put it on their calendar. Not everybody, by the way, but draftniks and teams and everything else. It comes after the offseason conditioning program begins, so vacations are kind of over, if you will, across the National Football League, even with players and everything else. It leads into when you can do like rookie minicamp right away, so you don't have to sit out and wait for a while between them. And then it goes into OTAs. So there are probably some logical things. My point on this is the hay's in the barn, folks.
Yeah.
Like, you can make the decision. And what I did say about that a couple weeks ago or days ago, whatever we were talking about this, is I think you basically want to lock yourself inside because you're sitting on a lottery ticket and you don't want to mess it up. It's like if I win the lottery, okay, but you can't cash it in for 3 months. Well, I'll be afraid to go to the grocery store. Right?
Yeah.
Well, here's an example of it. Michael Jefferson, who I don't know much about, he's out of Louisiana. He's a wide receiver. Potential mid-round pick, according to this article, involved in a multi-car crash Sunday night in Mobile, Alabama, that left him with injuries that required multiple surgeries. And listen, bad luck happens to a lot of different people.
Sure.
But I just feel for a young man like this. First of all, we hope he's okay and all of that. But he had the lottery ticket, and that lottery ticket certainly might not be worth as much as it was. We'll see what happens in the draft now. But first of all, again, we got to recognize and make sure he's okay, and that's first and foremost, regardless of football, and everybody else is, because this actually was a story that someone did lose their life in. It was that big of a crash. But my point being, the time that passes after these guys end their season to when they actually get to cash in their lottery ticket potential and get drafted and make money and all their hard work pays off is a very long time. Like a very, very long time.
Yeah, and I mean, just in other examples, obviously this one is awful, but like in that time that passes, you're working out every day. It's not like you can't tear something in that time period.
Well, go to the pro day, right? The Michigan kid.
Yes.
Tore his ACL.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and in case you're not only doing that, what I say a lot of times, and I'll even bring this to like Dante Fowler, after he got drafted for the Jags, tearing his ACL. And I'm not saying there's a reason why these things happen. They might happen anyway. But what I believe in that stretch, two things are at play. One, you are exerting yourself and trying harder than you ever had because you know what's around the corner, right? So you're trying to do the best you can and I mean, just going like I would. I'd be like, this is the hardest I've lifted. This is the hardest I've run. This is the hardest I've ever done anything because look what's waiting for me, right? I want to impress at Pro Day. I want to impress at the Combine. I want to impress in my visits. I want to impress in my everything. And I want to get drafted high because there's more money. And so I can see somebody doing that and then hurting themselves. And again, we're not saying this happens like 15 times in off-season, like a draft cycle, but it opens the door to it happening. The other thing I often say about this whole process, and this is where I go to more Dante Fowler or even somebody that has a tough rookie year, this process is exhausting, is absolutely exhausting for young players and young people. And you go, when does the senior year of college or junior year of college start for these guys? Really back in like May or April, the year prior. Then they get a couple weeks off, but they're always training. They go play a college season. Some of them aren't done until January, at the earliest mid-December. Then they go into the draft cycle part of this. They sign on with an agent. They work harder and harder. They lift more and more. They run more and more. They get ready for the combine. Then the interviews. They hardly rest. And then they get drafted eventually. They go right into an NFL rookie camp or OTAs. They get all this stuff thrown at them with the pressure and at least, what a great moment. I'm in the NFL. And then you get 5 weeks off, and then you boom into an NFL training camp. Your body does not recover enough. I'm convinced of it. It just does not recover. And so the thing I always say about a rookie, Trayvon Walker answered this question brilliantly in late January. He had just had the longest stretch, guys, of football in his entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Like the most games he's ever played, the most training and conditioning, and the least amount of off time and recovery that young man had ever had in his whole life.
On top of all the intensity and stress of learning how to be in the NFL.
And living up to the pick that he was.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, that dude, for me, like, again, if I'm sitting there and I'm Trayvon Walker's, like, family or agent or part of his team, I'm like, man, go chill out for a little bit, right? Like, get away. And I remember Trevor saying it. Trevor was exhausted. Of course, he had to deal with a lot, too. But Trayvon looked exhausted by the time we talked to him in the locker room as they cleaned out the lockers on that last day. And the guy's as physically fit as anybody. That's not the point. I think it's an exhausting process. So these guys they play basically an 18-month season that has all these other side things going on that will never happen again in their life and probably hadn't happened previously. So it's a very difficult thing. And I think I would like to see, in a perfect world, and again, we just went through this with the calendar and the reasons why and other things that are probably logical reasons why, that it takes place in late April. But wouldn't it kind of be cool if this thing was done, like, in early March?
No, I'm totally with it. Just stacking all these things, yeah.
Yeah, and this young man right here who now is obviously having surgeries and has this, there's going to be some things to overcome for Michael Jefferson. He was already drafted in the 4th round. And, yeah, while that might stink for your team because you might lose him because of injury, at least for that young man, everything he worked for, like he at least already started to get compensated or had a home. Now you add what's already happening to him, and you times it by whatever, multiple, because now he's going to deal with all this on top of it before he even finds a home. And guess what? It's a cutthroat world.
He might not. Yeah.
Might not. Like, I think that sucks.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
And again, not everybody's going to get in a car accident on April 12th or 10th or 11th. But the point is bigger than that, because we just brought up injuries and workouts and injuries once you get here and long seasons for people. I just feel like that part of it, I think, could be done better. And I'm not a big guy, like, asking for things to change without having the right answer. But I'm a little surprised even, like, CBA and other things don't get into that part of the conversation when they go to the table to make it better for young players coming in. Or maybe it's just a necessary evil, and Brent, there's no good answer for this. Like, hey, listen, sometimes that's the case. Like, sometimes it legitimately is the case. But it really feels like the NFL is in that slot late April just because it fills a hole in the calendar. Well, that's a bad reason to hold off on these guys' next step in their life for a couple months, in my opinion. And sometimes it burns some guys, like in this instance. We'll take a break, Brent and Friends, on ESPN 690 when we come back here on a Wednesday.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly cloudy today. Temperatures topping out between 75 and 80. Still a little breezy at times. A shower or thunderstorm possible late tonight. Will drop into lower 60s. Then on and off heavy rain and storms tomorrow. Your Thursday high in the upper 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jags.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds.
Don't miss Beard's Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one wedding band sale going on now.
Get ready for a month of nonstop excitement at the one and only Card Room and Sports Bar in St. Augustine. Best bet, hit it big and win even bigger with InstaPay weekends every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And don't miss your chance to win big with our $100 Lucky Seat giveaways every 15 minutes on April 5th and 10th. Plus, we're bringing you $1,000 high hands between all Best Bet locations on April 10th, along with daily high hand promotions. Best Bet St. Augustine, conveniently located at exit 311 off I-95. For more information, visit bestbetjacks.com.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
I've been asked 1,000 times, did you plan on becoming the largest injury law firm in the world? And the answer is no. When I started, there were just 2 of us. Today, Morgan & Morgan has almost 800 lawyers alone. No injury firm in the country has anywhere close to that. We set out to be focused on our clients and to have a commitment to trying cases and winning. And when you have those results at trial, you're able to settle most of your cases quickly and fairly. Reputation matters. We grew like this because we worked hard, and so many former clients referred family and friends. And what I believe is the main reason is we delivered for our clients a lot. Hard work and client satisfaction was our plan. It worked. Hope is not a plan. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This spring, you might be wondering, why is the sky so blue? How do flowers grow? And the biggest question of all, why buy from Arlington Toyota? I'll tell you why. First, peace of mind. Buy any new Toyota from Arlington, their lifetime warranty goes with you. That's unlimited time and miles. Plus, there's Arlington's 30-day exchange program. That's 30 days to love your new purchase or exchange it. You even get complimentary car wash with your service visit. Now you know why you should buy from Arlington. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
From fractures to spinal issues, your quality of care is a top priority when choosing a doctor. We know integrity matters most. And at Integrity Spine and Orthopedics, you matter most. Schedule your appointment today at integritymattersmost.com.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I got my COVID-19 vaccine when I was pregnant. I wanted to do everything I could to help protect my baby and keep myself healthy. So I talked to my doctor and learned that vaccines are safe and effective when you're pregnant. My daughter Lauren was born healthy and happy, and she was protected against COVID. Getting your COVID, flu, and Tdap vaccines while pregnant keeps families protected against dangerous diseases.
To learn how to protect your family, visit vaccinateyourfamily.org/learn.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Wait, aren't these all charitable donations?
At Magda's Tax Prep, every person
I'd
counts.
rather not have to file for an extension.
She needs new auditors to maximize returns on her family
On
time.
itemized deductions. Hey, can someone help with these 1099s?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
Those stomach issues ruined your birthday?
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa.
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM. a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, welcome back, Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau along with Aaron Schachterbaum.
Howdy.
Kasey Kurtz.
What's up?
I could have waited for a long time.
Yes, you could have.
I didn't.
So
Yeah.
What's up?
What's up?
All right, so I was just thinking of something. I always think of something. But,
Yep. That's the show.
Yeah, that is the show. But sometimes I think of stuff that I didn't have planned in the show. And so I was looking at a tweet, and PGA Tour says, game recognized game. The one I was thrilled to hear from Rafael Nadal left me a very nice voice message. I've seen him do unbelievable things, and I've texted him every time, John Rahm said. I also saw another thing, and now I can't seem to find it, that John Rahm, you know, Rory McIlroy was committed to the RBC Heritage, didn't play this week, and Rahm could have decommitted from there as well, right? But he said, you know, the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to honor my commitment. And he said something to the effect of, I thought about just if I was a kid and I got to see the Masters champ that week and I was planning on going and he didn't show up, and that would have been a bummer. I'm super paraphrasing. But
we get it.
I was like, that's pretty cool. You know, that's a pretty cool way to think about it.
I'm always so skeptical whenever anyone mentions the kids as an excuse for anything.
Well, an excuse for playing?
Yeah, no. Yes, literally, yes.
Really?
Well, only because it's like one of those things where no one's going to read that besides me and go, oh, come on. Like, no one says that.
Well, I don't know about that, because I also think that, yes, this is maybe the true and honest answer from John Rahm, maybe. But also, you just won the freaking Masters. You might win again. Like, you're the best player in the world. Why not try to win $3 more million? You know?
Yeah, and I'm not saying the kids thing was like the only reason that he decided to play. I mean, the $3 million, the playing well, the everything else might go into it as well. But I liked his response. And here's the thing about it with Rahm that's interesting to me, is the more you hear from this guy, the more you like him. My opinion.
Is he one of these guys who like stays late and signs for kids and stuff?
He is.
I don't even know that.
So then I'm buying it. Fine.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know that part.
Likable guy.
But, you know, what a lot of guys talked about this week, if you watch the golf coverage with Rahm, is that he's an historian. Like, everybody brought up Seven Ballesteros, but he knows more than that, right? Like, he's a true historian of the game that respects that part of the game. And in golf, that's an important thing. I think in some sports it's more important than others. In golf, it feels like there's a reverence to it. But, like, even his story about Zach Ertz, you guys saw that, right? Like,
Yeah.
where Ertz he told the story, like, at the ceremony where Ertz had texted him.
Jinxing him, yeah.
And jinxing him, and he's kind of a little bit of a name dropper. Like, he's really close, it seems like, to a bunch of guys, like, around the sports world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also strikes me as, like, he's a sports fan.
Or, like, still feels like there's some magic or majesty to this thing. Like, he's still impressed with the fact that these guys' names are in his orbit.
Yeah, that's a good call, right?
Yeah.
Like, that he's kind of in that circle.
Yeah.
Like, there are some guys that get so far out the circle that it's cool when everybody else is in the circle. Like, I think, like, LeBron James, right? Like, if you're in LeBron James' circle, like, you've made it. But LeBron, like, he's so above everybody's circle.
It's
like,
just
we're
a
just
regular
talking about
circle, yeah.
Michael, LeBron, Messi. Like, there's not too many places to go for LeBron to be like, wow, that's pretty cool, you know? I think Trevor is still very interesting in this regard, where, like, a guy like John Rahm at the Players' Championship wanted to meet him. Like, he knew him, watched him, liked him, right? I think there are other people that see that in Trevor, but I also think Trevor reveres some of that in other guys. Like, he still thinks it's cool to go shake hands with Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or somebody else, you know, after a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's, like, different, levels of this. And I didn't know this. I guess I didn't know as much about John Rahm until the last few days as I thought I did. And I feel like he's just a very likable character right now in the sports scene. All of it. He's super talented. He's pretty thoughtful in when he talks, the history part of it, the other parts of sports. He's been doing this for a long time, and then you hear other people talk about him, and they obviously really seem to like the guy, which I think that should be worth something.
Yeah, John's a GOAT.
Is he like an all-time likable golfer? Not necessarily for his skill, but for his attitude?
Like, I don't know. It's too early for me. Like, I feel like I'm just learning that part of John. Here's the thing that I thought about John Rahm. I kind of thought he was a little bit of a whiny, emotional guy sometimes.
He is emotional.
Brent's not for the emotions, Case.
No, I'm okay with the emotion. But he kind of had come across more whiny, maybe even Sergio-esque at times in that sense than maybe the reality of it, because we saw some of the meltdowns and some of the big-time moments.
We did, until he figured out how to figure that out himself. Yes. And I think that's a product of when you become the top of the world at anything in your young 20s, you're probably not going to react how you are in your late 20s. So once he figured that out, once he's been in that moment, the emotion's no longer there. I mean, you still see it at times. You saw the Players' Championship with Marcel. I get it. It happens.
Stare down Marcel. That's right.
But, like, he's figured out how to handle those moments, and that's why he's, the best in the world.
I do love that part of sports that I don't think everybody gets to live that, but even the biggest stars of stars have this evolution about them. And that's what you're talking about there, Kasey. Like, this was a young guy. He was an immature guy. He was a talented guy. Didn't know how to win exactly guy. And then you look at what happened this past weekend, and he was steady as could be. Steady as could be. And I think people would say, well, he'll get more mature. He'll learn that. I don't think that's a given. I think that's a worked-on thing. And sure, being in those experiences helps. I think it also helps guys these days that you have a nice little nest egg built up, that if you don't figure it out, you're still doing okay.
Yeah.
But I think the great ones want to figure it out. And I think to John Rahm, like, he knows his talent is so good that he can be one of the greats. And he wanted to figure it out. And I think he's figured it out. And in many respects, to me, again, I pay attention to golf, but John Rahm was kind of on my periphery, quite frankly. I knew he was good. I knew he had been a little disappointing at times down the stretches. But I found myself obviously rooting more for him this week with the whole Live PGA Tour thing. Mm-hmm. And then some of the stuff that came out around when you have a moment like this to win the Masters in the green jacket, I think have been just fantastic. And I think it shed an incredible light on him as an athlete. And it got me thinking, just as recently as the commercial break, like, who are your favorite athletes right now? Like, I think of Shohei Ohtani, right? And I know you love him.
Yeah.
And we love his skill set.
Love him.
But what was really fascinating and what was showcased to us in the World Baseball Classic, in my opinion, was just how much of a gentleman he is of the sport, an ambassador of the sport. Seems like a very nice guy that you could also root for. Again, we have no idea if these guys are nice guys or not. But what comes across is a guy that, although he's not close to anyone else in terms of being just an average guy, he comes off sometimes as just an everyday guy. And I think some of that happened in the World Baseball Classic to me, Kasey. I don't know about to you. You've been following more closely, I think, because you've admired his game so much. But I thought some of that showcased during this whole thing, from the whole Czech Republic thing,
right,
wearing the hat, embracing the moment that he got struck out, knowing his place in the game, to do that stuff. Like, guys don't do that.
I agree. Yeah, no, I think there has been part of it that's been there, but when you do it on the stage of the World Baseball Classic, it helps, and it happened again last night, right? He pitched last night, and I don't know if you guys saw the Twitter clip, but you know how the umpires check for foreign substances between or after you pitch or whatever?
Yeah.
So he's walking off, and the umpire is like, hey, you keep going to your armpit. Like, what's going on there? And they're not mic'd up, obviously, but Shohei keeps his pitch comm in his armpit because he calls his own pitches.
Yeah.
So, like, they had that moment, and the umpire's like, oh, my bad. Like, you could read his lips. But there was, like, a good exchange, and it's like, I mean, you guys know me. I would have been like, what do you mean you think I'm cheating, you bum?
Yeah.
Like, no. But he's like, no, it's cool. Like, I'm just calling my pitches. I'm just dominating either way. I don't need, like, to cheat. It's fine. It's just another moment that shows, like, he's doing something that very, very, very few, if any, can ever do. And then he's, like, nice about it. And when he beats you, he's going to bow to you. Like, that's your thing.
He's
it's
very
crazy.
Kid-like, isn't he?
Yeah, like a boyish smile to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a guy who's about to make $500 million or more,
Yeah.
And he's got those kid-like moments still around a kid-like game. Baseball is viewed as that more than maybe any other sport.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good moment, Casey. I saw the picture. I didn't know exactly what was going on. I just thought it was a normal check. But I saw the picture you were talking about.
Yeah.
And, by the way, he continues to be dominant. He's given up 1 run in 19 innings this year. He's hitting 300. His OBP is like 400. Yep. He's been terrific to start the season once again.
What a bum.
and so I think Shohei Ohtani, to me, is a really cool guy to root for right now. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, there's no reason.
So what other athletes are like that? Like right now across sports that feel like it doesn't matter how much money they make, doesn't matter even how good they're doing, that guy's easy to root for. I'd wear his jersey. I'd buy a ticket. I'd do whatever.
I'll tell you 2 Olympians who I felt like that about last time around or not last time around, but over the years, were Michael Phelps and Simone Biles. Those two, it's hard to watch them, and maybe it's just because it's such a limited field if you're in America wanting to root for an American in that sense. But, I mean, these are 2 different athletes in 2 different sports where they're at the top of their game, and you know you're going to be entertained watching them compete, whether they win or lose. But you're likely going to see them win.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm trying to think back. I think I get what you're saying about Simone Biles, especially. I don't know if I felt it as much with Phelps because Phelps, to me, again, this is like the facade sometimes of the camera, and this is how we know these guys. Like even us who work in the business, we don't know all these guys. Like I always say that about the locker room. I think we know what we know, and that's what I got to go on. But Phelps, to me, didn't always come across as this like, I don't know, engaging personality.
Well, he's not necessarily charismatic or anything, but I found him likable. He doesn't say anything that makes you upset. He's just out there to compete, and that's all he does.
Yeah, I get that. And again, I get it. I get it more with Biles, and Biles was just everything about her was energy, right?
I mean, you could even go further with gymnastics. A lady like Shannon Miller, who actually lives locally, she was very likable during her career, and obviously Mary Lou Retton was like the darling of the 80s Olympics when it came to female gymnastics. Over in the iCryo chat chamber, Colby Grant says Mike Trout, and unfortunately, maybe Patrick Mahomes and LeBron James.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is a good one here, I think. One other thing, let me go back to about your 2 examples on the swimming with Phelps and gymnastics with Biles. And I think this helps us from an outside view for these spectacular athletes that we seemingly can't relate to, is when they show vulnerability. And both of those athletes, over time, had shown vulnerability to issues they were having, Phelps and Biles.
You know, it's interesting because I saw that backfire with my favorite basketball team where a guy like Ben Simmons, who the Nets traded for, showed his vulnerable side, not only to the league but to the fan base, by saying he wasn't physically injured at a time. He just mentally wasn't able to play basketball. Something was off. And then when he caught heat for being weak, according to the fan base, suddenly it was a knee and a back problem, and he's struggled ever since. He'll never live up to his draft billing, and I think it all started with vulnerability for that guy.
Well, I would say this about that, and I don't know if Kasey agrees or not, but Ben Simmons, sure, you might say it could have come off as excuses at times. The problem with Ben Simmons, he was never good to start.
I mean, he wasn't number 1 draft pick good, but he wasn't.
Well, that's my point. He's a disappointment. And so there's too much of that overshadows everything to get to the likability side or the vulnerability side. Like we're talking about in the vulnerability stuff, the 2 great athletes, right, that had accomplished so much, and then they show this other side to them even in their greatness. Ben Simmons was a kind of a disappointment that probably, especially in that town, in that city, came across as excuses.
Even in Philly, he didn't score a ton, but he was a great defensive player. And then suddenly when he comes out as this vulnerable guy and everyone labels him as soft, hey, he can't even play defense anymore. He's afraid to go in the lane. It was wild how this guy deconstructed in front of an entire fan base. It was crazy.
Well, what's interesting about this now, and I guess this is a conversation we can have after the break because we do have to take one of those, but this is exactly what's happening with Zion Williamson right now.
Ah, very good. And it's on our topic list. I want to. You kind of hesitated when I said Patrick Mahomes or when Aaron said Patrick Mahomes. I think this guy is just like across the board admired and liked.
I'm with you.
No,
you don't
I'm not
think
there.
so, Kasey?
I'm not there.
Who hates him besides rivals?
Me.
Yeah, rivals. You're a double rival.
Like, but I don't even think. I think he's so respected. Like, I mean, what is not like his,
respected
his wife,
is
his girlfriend, his whatever.
Respected is different than liked, for my money.
All right, so like juxtapose Pat Mahomes to like Aaron Rodgers. Like one of those guys is likable and one is not, independent of skill or where they're at in their careers.
It's fair, but I don't think that you're having anybody that has a team in the AFC that's like, yeah, we love Patrick Mahomes. Let's wear the jersey after he just beats our team twice this year. I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah, but so I think you're in the minority though of admiration. Or
would you put Peyton Manning in this category?
No, see, I think Peyton could be very polarizing. That, in my estimation.
Okay.
I think, Brady was very polarizing until kind of the end where it became the GOAT, and then you just appreciated like this greatness that you got to see one more time. I think Tiger had a very, very similar plight, to be honest with you. Like, he was so polarizing. But then after everything went bad, again, shows some vulnerability, and Brady didn't do that, but when Tiger did, now everybody was rooting for him. He was almost like the sympathetic figure.
Brady didn't show vulnerability, but he opened up. He
did open
a person,
up. So he
which
did
I think
kind of show
helps.
vulnerability, I guess.
And to that end,
way.
a guy like Tim Duncan, who's not hateable, people don't hate him as a person. He's also not charismatic. So he wasn't beloved like some of these guys.
Yeah, you don't feel like you know him at all.
Yeah.
When you brought up the idea in the break, the people that I thought of was, the first one was Steph Curry.
Good one. Yeah.
And then the other one, and you would maybe have a better perspective than like me, but as a Rays fan, I wanted Aaron Judge to get to the home run mark.
Interesting.
But it felt like a lot of people did. Now, I'm not going to say Boston did, but it feels like everybody else did.
Yeah, I would say this, and I felt this way about Derek Jeter, by the way, along the years. He was a hard guy not to like.
David Wright.
Right. And David Wright, I think, is a similar way, although I just don't think the rivalry was as ramped up because they weren't as good. But I think you're right about Judge.
You can throw shots at me, Brent.
And you know what else is interesting about Judge is I think he's a super likable guy, right? Super likable figure. He comes across that way.
Seems that way, yeah.
And then, obviously, we know some folks in the Yankees organization, and I verified that. And then once I verified, I was like, okay, I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay, that's real. And so that makes it easier. Again, I think we want to root for these folks, but there's that side we're like, okay, there's first of all the uniform they're wearing. Are we attached to them? And then I think vulnerability in some way, shape, or form is part of the equation for us as fans to really admire kind of unequivocally these players. Let's take a break and stay
real
on.
Quick. Two more in Facebook because I think they're good ones. Gronk and Drew Brees. Those came from Stephen Mann in Facebook.
Gronk and Drew Brees.
I like those.
Let me think about that a little bit more. Gronk's an interesting one.
I think you nailed it.
But I think you're right. But I hesitated for a moment. And also what you said about Zion Williamson gets us into another topic that was on our sheet today. How about that?
Look at us go.
Friends on ESPN 690 coming back in just a couple of minutes here on a Wednesday. Don't forget Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp Baseball tonight on ESPN 690. Coverage starts at 6:20. First pitch earlier than usual. Now 6:35. First pitch right here on ESPN 690 for the Jumbo Shrimp.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet. Now open in St. Augustine.
Jason Fitz and Harry Douglas are Fitz and Harry.
Lamar at this point has made it very clear he feels disrespected through this whole process. He feels devalued through this whole process. He's made it abundantly clear he doesn't want to play for the Ravens. He's also made it clear he's pissed off about the way they've turned the conversation to him quitting on his team. You think money fixes that? No, money doesn't fix that level of feelings. Like money didn't fix that level of feelings long-term for Aaron Rodgers. It ain't going to fix that level of feelings short-term or long-term.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Nice run. It's great being back out on the mountain. You sort of disappeared for a while. Everything okay?
Between you and me, it was lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah. The doc told me once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to stay in shape. That's why I started taking Nugenix Total T. It's made a huge difference.
Oh, I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
For sure. It's the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster. It boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. My wife, my boss, my kids, everyone has noticed a change in me.
Do they still give out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yes. Just send them a text.
Guys, text HATCH to 321-321 right now
now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC and Walmart. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back in shape fast, absolutely free. Text HATCH to 321321. That's HAT to 321321.
Shinedown, the Revolution's live tour. Friday, April 14th, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. With special guest, 3 Days Grace. And From Ashes to New. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Shinedown live.
With more ways than ever to connect to news and entertainment, 90% of new car buyers want the tried and true AM/FM radio option. Gadgets are great, but when you're behind the wheel, you just want that local connection that can't be replicated. Local AM/FM radio is dependable and free, with no subscription or cellular data required. And as the backbone of the emergency alert system, we're here to keep you safe in dangerous times. Visit wearebroadcasters.com and tell us how you depend on AM.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? 1-to-1 Financial. We're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Have you been injured in an accident? Morgan & Morgan will fight to get you more. We are America's largest injury law firm, and that means more than 800 lawyers, more offices nationwide, and more than $15 billion recovered for our clients. Get experienced representation, support staff 24/7, and much more. See what people are saying about us. Check out any of our more than 28,000 5-star Google reviews of satisfied clients. You deserve more. And we at Morgan & Morgan are ready to fight for more. Don't wait. Dial # Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When you call America's largest injury firm, you get the backing of a national firm, along with a dedicated team from your community, handpicked by us. When you need a fighter, you need us. Call America's largest injury law firm. Call Morgan & Morgan. For the people.
Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features and window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help reduce your energy usage, all at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now to save big with 12 months zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals.
Financing at time of sale for new orders only. Guys, fellas, men, are you Roman ready for the weekend? Right now, generic Viagra, aka Sildenafil, is just $4 per dose at Roman. Just complete a free online visit with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. If medication is appropriate, Roman sends what you need in discreet packaging with 2-day shipping. Generic Viagra from $4 at Roman. Go to ro.co/Viagra. Do it today and get 20% off your entire first order. That's ro.co/Viagra.
Hey, it's Brent Mortno from Action Sports Jacks. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jacks on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent AS Jacks. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690.
So we're talking about some athletes that we feel are universally appreciated or admired, I guess is maybe the best way to say it. And it's got us thinking about John Rahm recently. You can't find many people to say anything bad about him. I thought he showcased himself really well at the Masters and shed some light on his own personality and everything else about him that even I guess was in the dark on or wasn't paying attention as much to. I think Ohtani is a guy that comes to mind. Mahomes, Kasey differs a little bit, but again, this isn't 100% approval rate, but you get the idea of it. And there are, I think, many other athletes. We had on the chat, what was it?
Gronk and Drew Brees.
And Drew Brees. Brees, I think, is Fitz. Yeah, I mean,
Totally.
I'm trying to think. The only thing that got in Brees' way was, like, he had some comments, right? Social issues or something like that, comments. What got him in trouble late in his career? I can't remember now.
I think you're right. I think it's politically.
Was it a political thing?
I think.
I can't remember exactly.
Might have been religion. I think he's a religious guy.
I don't know. I think I'm not sure. I can't remember which category it was of what he said that he had to apologize for. I'll have to go back and check it out. But that was the only hiccup, I think, in his
Was it back in
long
2019?
career.
Apparently he appeared in a video tied to a conservative Christian organization, which sparked some blowback.
That sounds right.
Is that what it was?
I guess you're not allowed to be in videos supported by conservative Christian organizations.
Well, and Brees, wasn't he part of that goofy prank on whatever?
Yes, that
thing?
was recent. That was
recent, right?
Like a bet something website.
Yeah, that
promo.
was weird.
Yes.
And then you brought up Zion Williamson, so get us into Zion Williamson a little bit, which might set the table for a longer conversation. But what's up with Zion?
Yeah, so it's very similar to what, Aaron, you said about Ben Simmons and that, he was healthy. He just mentally wasn't ready to play. Well, you may or may not know the NBA play-in is happening. 2 games yesterday, 2 games today. And the Pelicans will be one of those games, and Zion Williamson has not played basketball in a long time. That is not really a surprise. That's been his whole NBA career. But the thing that made news was when they talked to him yesterday at the Pelicans' last practice for the game, he said this.
I can pretty much do everything, but it's just a matter of the level that I was playing at before my hamstring. And I'm just a competitor. I don't want to go out there and be in my own head and affect the team when I can just be on the sideline supporting them more. Because, I know myself. If I was to go out there, I would be in my head. Like I would hesitate on certain moves, and that could affect the game.
So I think this is interesting because he says he's healthy, but he doesn't think he can do it mentally. And I actually, at first, when I saw the words of this quote, I was like, I kind of don't understand. Like, this is not a good look for Zion. But then when I started thinking about it, this is a dude who, not in the Trevor Lawrence comparison, but pretty close. I mean, since the moment he was going to Duke and stepped foot at Duke, he was the #1 pick already, whether right or wrong. And he's came to the NBA, and he's been good when he plays. He just doesn't play enough. So the idea that he could go out there, perform badly, and then mentally the narrative will switch to, he's not good. And, like, he doesn't want to be in that headspace when he's been dealing with all this other stuff. So I actually agree with him now. I didn't when I first saw it, but I think it's very interesting to the Ben Simmons comparison because either way, he goes out there and plays bad or he doesn't play, he's going to get heat from everybody one way or the other.
I think that's fair. My question, I guess, is it acceptable when you're that high a draft pick to not be mentally prepared?
Yeah, well, hold on to that. We got to take a break. Top of the hour we go. We'll answer it on the other side because I think there's a lot to this, actually. I think it's got to do with the mental headspace. It's also got to do with whatever happened to just going out to play until somebody yanked you out of there, right? There's a little bit of that old school mentality, like where has that gone? And does Greg Oden enter the conversation when we mention Zion Williamson yet? I just can't remember Zion Williamson playing very much. He's played more than I think he has, but it sure doesn't feel it.
I have a count of all the times he has sat out with injuries, and we'll get guesses from you guys when we come back.
All right, we'll do that when we come back. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Don't forget to always check out our YouTube channel as well. It's Action Sports Jacks on YouTube.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. If you're interested in buying a fine quality diamond, but might start with a smaller diamond and then over time grow that to a larger size diamond, at Underwoods we have a way to do that, and we've been doing it for more than 50 years. We call it Grow a Diamond, and here's how it works. When a customer buys an Underwood engagement ring, solitaire diamond pendant, or a pair of ear studs, we guarantee they get the price they paid for it on the purchase of any bigger diamond. Now, a lot of stores would say, big deal, we do that too, but here's the Underwood difference. We guarantee you get what you paid when you trade in your Underwood diamond, even if you're only trading up by $1. It's not that you have to trade up 2 for 1 like most jewelers ask. We've done this with thousands of customers through the years, so if you're interested in growing a diamond, come by and see us at Underwood's in San Marco, Avondale, or the shops at Ponte Vedra.
Calling all poker players. Brace yourselves for an epic month of poker at Best Bet Orange Park this April. In honor of our 15th anniversary, we're giving away $15,000 in high-hand promotions on Saturday, April 15th. And that's not all. Our highly popular $400 no-limit Hold'em Greater Orange Park Open with a guaranteed prize pool of $40,000 is happening on April 22nd. Don't miss your chance to participate in these exciting events. For more information, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Life always has its challenges, but if you feel hopeless or suicidal, you don't have to face it alone. I'm Dr. Christine Caulfield, CEO of LSF Health Systems, and our free Link to Life program can help. We'll connect you with a care coordinator who will work with you to build better tomorrows. Please take suicide off the table. For more information, visit lsfhealthsystems.org or call 988 if you are in crisis.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NBA play-in tournament continues tonight with a doubleheader of winner-go-home matchups. First up, Bulls and the Raptors. The home team went 3-0 in the regular season series, and that trend will hold up again tonight with Toronto getting the win, believes ESPN basketball analyst Monica McNutt.
This was a team that led the league in deflections at one point. Anunoby is a terrific defender, and Pascal Siakam is just so versatile in the ways that he's able to score. And the Bulls, they've really been up and down this season. And so I'll be curious to see what kind of support DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine get in this one. But I kind of think Toronto's size and defense overwhelms in this particular game.
The Bulls-Raptors winner will play Miami for 8th in the East. Second game of the doubleheader, Thunders-Pelicans. That winner will meet Minnesota for 8th in the West. Coverage tips off 6:30 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7 Eastern ESPN TV. Arkansas freshman Anthony Black, a projected top 10 pick, told ESPN's NBA Today he'll enter the upcoming NBA draft and forego his remaining college eligibility. He's the number 8 prospect in ESPN's draft projections.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Mama, what does the chicken say? Dog. Cat. Giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Shacks presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! But what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Pull Jack from! Yeah! Pull Jack from!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio, ESPN 690.
Hey, 4 o'clock hour we go on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, Brent and Friends, and we've got Guns and Hoses coming up this week. We will talk about that in the next few minutes or so. But want to stay on this topic with Zion Williamson, who just was quoted in the last day or so about not playing in these play-in games and not mentally ready to play, even though he's physically ready to go, apparently. And it got us on different topics, of the Ben Simmons stuff to, I think, even a Greg Oden comparison. And Aaron, start us off with just how much this guy has missed, because I just said it to his name recently, and they're like, I can't remember the last time he even played, right? Like, he's irrelevant.
Well, I've heard you use
bust. Like, those are the things being thrown around on Zion Williamson.
I've heard you use Greg Oden's name a bunch in the past. So just to put that in context for those who don't know Greg Oden, drafted 07-08, missed his first year due to injury. Second year, he played 61 total games, out of 82. Third year, 21, then missed the next 3 years with a knee injury, came back, played 23, and retired. So out of a possible 574 games over his career, he only played in 105 of them. That is... Go ahead. Pretty extensive injury history right there.
And he was drafted before Kevin Durant.
He was drafted number 1 overall.
Yes.
Yeah. So Zion Williamson also drafted number 1 overall, I believe, in 2019. So that would give him, 4 seasons in the NBA, right? You're talking about 82 games a season, likely at 4 seasons. Case, I know you're not doing the math. You're probably writing your autograph. What's 8 times 4? 28, 32. 24, 32. There we go. So 320-something games. Zion Williamson.
328, yep.
How many times has this man had to sit out for injury? Not how many games, just how many different journeys to injury recovery has this guy endured?
I'm going to say a handful, 5.
5 is a lot in 4 years. Case?
8.
How about 16?
Ooh.
16! A knee and ankle, another ankle, personal day, reconditioning, knee, health and safety protocols, that means COVID, toe, thumb, finger, foot, hip, foot, more COVID, reconditioning, and then a hamstring in January.
That is insane.
I mean, you hear about athletes with soft tissue issues and stuff like that, guys who are injury prone. We saw coming out of Duke, Zion Williamson, his shoe exploded. That was the first time I ever saw this dude get injured, and I'm like, yeah, the guy seems like he's got 8,000 tons of force behind every hop step. But that's a lot of injuries. Here's a guy that's going to struggle for his whole career and has already been labeled and can't get out of it. It probably is contributing to all the stuff in his head that he's talking about. But the thing I asked Kasey and you, Brent, before we went to break was this, because I realize he can't determine what the chemicals in his brain do that day. Like, I'm not sitting here saying he's in charge of that. But if you know you're struggling with something, whether it's something as significant as depression or something as insignificant as being in a bad mood that day, isn't it on you? Isn't it your responsibility as an adult with a job to do that you get paid a lot of money for to work on that stuff, to figure out ways to fix it? Like, you don't hear about ways the guy's trying to fix his mental headspace. He's only just going to tell you he's sitting out because of it. I think that's part of the issue, and not like it's everybody's business, but if you're going to put it out there that you're not playing because you're not there mentally, what is your expectation of the fans' reaction?
Yeah, that's an interesting part of the equation, right? I mean, and I think it's a good question, and I don't know if I know the answer. He's a number 1 overall pick. He's got high expectations. He's paid a handsome amount of money, and how much of that is to answer the bell mentally as well as physically. And, Kasey, do you still have the soundbite that you played, just in case people are just jumping in?
I do.
The soundbite has a lot of stuff to it. I mean, there's a lot to dive into. And just Kasey brought up an interesting point before the break. Like, he was, at first, like, what is he saying? And then secondly, I kind of get it. So how do you think about what Zion says right here?
I pretty much do everything, but it's just a matter of the level that I was playing at before my hamstring. And I'm just a competitor. I don't want to go out there and be in my own head and affect the team when I can just be on the sideline supporting them more. Because, you know, I know myself. If I was to go out there I would be in my head. Like I would hesitate on certain moves, and that could affect the game.
So there's so much here. Like, you could dissect every 3 words of that soundbite because, first of all, there's an admiration for people who play with weakness. If you're hurt or if you're not all ready to go, but you're still trying, like that's an admiration in the sports world. So much so that people will say, hey, am I better off playing at 85% or 75%? Or when is it when I start hurting the team, right? That's like a cliche in sports.
Sure.
The coach has to realize that. You have to realize that as a player. But usually it's somebody else that has to realize that. And then because you're never coming out. Like, you're just not taking yourself out. I mean, football, we see this every Sunday, quite frankly. Brandon Sheriff, was he his best Brandon Sheriff last year? No. But he gutted it out. And you know what? It's admirable as hell that he did. Each and every Sunday. So people respect that. But to be physically ready to go and not mentally feel like you're going to be the best rendition of yourself, is that a confidence issue, Kasey? Or is that, hey, that's a pretty mature way to look at it. I might hurt the team by not being the best I can be.
I think it's interesting. I think more so the way that I read into it is on a personal level for him. But, yeah, I mean, if he truly believes that by him not playing and doing, the best he can on the coaching part of it, then I would say that that's a better move for him, and it's a mature decision. And also, like, the part of it that it's the play-in, so you got one shot at this. And, like, if he is rusty – and he's not fully ready. Like, he says he's fully healthy, okay, but when you haven't played in a game in a long time and you're playing in a game that you cannot lose, you start thinking about it even harder when you haven't played in a while. Like, I know he knows how to play basketball. He hasn't forgot how to do that. But, like, there's everything on the line here. If this was a series, it's a different situation. You come out and you're bad. Hey, we got him in game 2. You can't come out and you're bad here because if you're on the floor and you're Zion Williamson, you are getting the basketball every time you want it on the block. And if you're not ready for that, if you're not mentally ready for that, you're worried about your rust there, you are going to hurt the team. And you're going to lose because of it.
In addition to that, Kasey, though, it's not like the Pelicans are this team that are only run through Zion Williamson. They have C.J. McCollum. They have Brandon Ingram. They have a couple of players on this team where if you had half a Zion Williamson, you're still talking 12 to 17 points in a game. You're still talking 3 to 5 rebounds in a game. If he's only at 50% strength, if he's only at 50% confidence, you're still getting a guy who can contribute significant numbers and minutes if he's healthy, by the way, because he's averaging 33 this season, and he's just not there for his guys. I'm one of these people, I promise you, I'm one of these people who's a player advocate when it comes to you need the day off, take the day off. You got 82 games in a season or 162 or 17 in a season, but to me, this seems a little bit more towards the egregious nature of sitting out or being overly cautious for something that's not a permanently damaging thing.
Well, I think you brought up something that's really interesting and hard to answer, and maybe everybody looks at this differently. What is the responsibility of the athlete to be mentally ready to go when their body says they are ready to go?
Totally.
Like, I don't know where that sits, and without having a clinical problem, right, or issue from a mental health standpoint. And this doesn't seem like that's the case, but he also is measuring where he is mentally versus where he is physically.
And he needs to do that.
And again, like that is just too hard to dissect from the outside.
Sure, but Brent, imagine if he made the comment that we just heard, but imagine if the comment he made was, I'm there physically, I'm just not there mentally, and believe me, I'm trying everything I can to get there. I'm meeting with my doctor 3 times a week. We're talking about different holistic ways I can do this without messing up my body because we're in season and we're working on it. I'm just not there, guys.
Yeah, and listen, you were talking about a 22-year-old guy.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
I mean, he's a young guy, young man. I mean, he's borderline a kid still, and all this is on him. And injuries are really some of the most depressing things athletes can go through, right? Even to begin with. And you said he had 16 so far in his NBA career. 16 different reasons why he's missed games. That's an incredible amount.
It's amazing. He's missed about 50% of the games.
I mean, we just talked about this with John Rahm, right? Like, he was in a situation where he wasn't as experienced, wasn't as mature. He didn't handle not performing well early in his career, and now he's figured that out. To your point, he's still 22. Like, And, I'm not going to sit here and say at 22 he needs to have that figured out or he's even going to give you the
There's
perfect
no
soundbite.
way. You forget about it sometimes that they're so young. There's no way.
Exactly. And, I mean, this is also a guy who, yes, injuries happen throughout life, okay? He has been the best player on any team that's ever even been thought about with his name on it. And he's not right now because of injury and because of other things. But it's a lot. It's a lot to have all in your head at one time.
All right, I'm going to go one more thing, and then we're going to get Trevor on here talking in just a moment. Now, that's a tease.
You can make the other guys freak out.
One more thing about Zion Williamson here. Is this at all to do with branding and legacy? These guys are so cognizant of it that, to your point, Kasey, like I think you said in the last 10 minutes or so about this topic, I wonder, is he afraid to come out there and look bad?
I mean, if
because
anything,
it would tarnish the way he's supposed to look.
I think that's a big
so now
part.
everything has to be perfect before he actually gets out on the floor so he can perform at the highest level he expects and everybody else expects.
but it's not perfect, and he's already tarnishing that legacy. If anything, he's making it worse by not playing.
But I think he understands what happens if he does play and he is bad. That whether he's supposed to care about it or not, if he plays tonight and is awful, he's the lead on First Take for two reasons. One, he couldn't mentally handle it, and two, when he finally could, he was bad.
All right, well, how
and
about
that's
this?
unfair to him both ways.
How about this? Brent doesn't follow basketball with a magnifying glass, but when he hears Zion Williamson, Brent, what's the name you think of?
Greg Oden.
That's the legacy. There it is. So if he plays, that legacy goes away, regardless of whether he scores 10 points or 30 points. And granted, the big basketball fans, yes, they'll think the way you think, probably. Certainly the shows will say what you just said. But the reality is it won't be his legacy if he plays. But he doesn't. And it's his prerogative. I get it. But
he could be a bust either way if he plays and he's bad.
Yeah, okay. I can't argue with that.
Well,
I just don't think it's the case.
Legacy on the line a different way. Coming up on Saturday night at UNF Arena. It's the 24th annual Guns and Hoses. And Trevor Hall joins us right now on ESPN 690 to discuss the festivities. Hey, Trevor, we teased you with Trevor, man. You never knew what kind of audience you'd get here over the next couple of moments. Thanks for taking a few minutes. Got a big Saturday coming up.
Oh, yeah, big event, big day.
Well, give us a little more insight on it. You're at UNF Arena, first of all, right? I think we got to make sure that's crystal clear. So many times downtown at the arena, this time at the University of North Florida, which could be a really cool setting for Guns and Hoses.
Oh, yeah, we're real excited. It's a much smaller arena, a lot more energy. It'll be a lot louder. Everyone will be right there on top of the ring. Yeah, it's going to be a unique experience for the fighters and the fans, really.
This people have known about this event. You have spin-off events like last week with the Jacksonville Icemen. They took to the ice, police and firefighters. If you haven't been to Guns and Hoses, let's just say in a decade, like you were there once and you loved it, but you just haven't gone back. You got busy stuff with the kids. How's this evolved over time, and what's the 24th rendition of it look like?
It's a production. It's a big show. We've got the video boards and music and lighting and spotlights and smoke when the fighters come out. So it's just fun overall for the fans. We got a street party out front beforehand. There's going to be food trucks and different vendors. I know the Marines will be out there, the Sheriff's Office recruiters, the firefighter recruiters. Monster Energy will be out there handing out free drinks. And then we have a beer garden as well, where you can go and drink before the event for cheaper than what's inside.
There you go. That's a good promotion in itself. Speaking of cost, reserved seating $40, upper reserved seating $25, general admission. This is the one that will ring everybody's ears. Just $15 to get in for a real fun night at UNF Arena. You can get more information, by the way, at GNHJax.com. GNHJax.com. Bell time is 6:30. How many fights do we have this year?
We have 9 fights. We try to shoot for more. We had a couple injuries happen during training, so we had to cut back to 9. But they all should be pretty good fights. We had to weigh in last night. They all went face to face, did their stare off, and it should be good. A lot of action, a lot of energy.
Give us the balance of the competitive nature of this, which we know there's plenty of it, but also the mutual respect for one another, and obviously what each does not only in the ring but outside the ring on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, there's it's a friendly rivalry, you could say, because we always tease each other out there. The police always tease the firefighters tease the police. But in the ring, they don't want to lose. They want to show out for their friends and all that. But the ultimate goal is for charity, and everyone at the end is high fiving, hugging, cheersing each other afterwards. It's a good time, but there is that rivalry, and we do get along for the most part. But in that ring, they're duke it out. They're going at it. I mean, it's pretty intense.
Well, not only that, like you said, just a lot of individual pride on the line. And we've covered this many a times, and even the lead up to it. The training is pretty intense, isn't it?
It is. They train for about 4 months to get ready, and they're doing 2-3 days a week. I mean, everyone has to work, so you can't go 5, 6, 7 like some of the pro guys. But they're putting in a ton of work, 2-3 hours a day practicing, training, running, hitting the bags, all that good stuff, sparring. So they put in the work, and it shows. I mean, they get in the ring and they put on a good show.
Well, there's a lot of pride, a good celebration for the men and women who serve, policemen, firemen here in the Jacksonville area. GNHJax.com. Again, general admission $15, upper reserve seating $25, reserve seating $40. I don't know who has that new suite at UNF Arena if they were able to sell that out, but that would be a great spot to watch this event. Maybe that ticket price might have been a little higher, but with some of the renovations at UNF Arena, it's a fantastic venue.
Oh, it is, and that's sweet. We've got some of our sponsors up there and people that were very generous towards us. So they were the ones who were lucky enough to get up there and watch the fights up there. But yeah, the arena is beautiful. If you haven't been, it's awesome inside. It's a brand new floor, which we'll have covered, by the way, because it is a new floor. we don't want to ruin that. But yeah, it's a brand. It's got new video boards, sound system. I mean, it's a top class environment.
Yeah, $3 million worth of renovations into that UNF Arena, and not just for the athletic programs, but for nights like this, Fight Night,
oh, yeah.
Guns and Hoses, coming to Jacksonville annually, 24th one, this Saturday night, bell time 6:30. And let's leave you with this, Trevor, and appreciate you jumping on and spreading the good word about Guns and Hoses. You mentioned charity. The proceeds benefit police and firefighter charities. And I might be putting you on the spot. I think in a way that's self-explanatory. Is there anything more specific to that where some of the dollars wind up?
Yeah, so the charities that we donate to are the concerns of police survivors of Northeast Florida. And that one is for families who have had in the line of duty deaths. So a police or fire, if their family member has been killed in the line of duty, they help the families out afterwards. And then we have the Muscular Dystrophy Association and the Police Athletic League.
Very good. Once again, GNHJax.com. It's this Saturday night at UNF Arena. Make that note again at UNF Arena. I think a comfortable, cozy, intimate setting for this fantastic night. Policemen against firemen here on Saturday with Guns and Hoses. General admission, just $15. Go check it out, GNHJax.com. Trevor, thanks for jumping in. Good luck on Saturday night. Have a blast.
No, thank you. Thank you. Hope to see you there.
All right, that is good stuff and an annual event that so many people in town know about. And if you're new to town, go check it out because it's quite the party on Saturday night here in Jacksonville. And by the way, one of the reasons that I would think, and I don't even know this, but one of the reasons that this night is now at UNF Arena are the Jacksonville Sharks. They have a home game coming up. This Saturday night.
They do.
Inside that arena.
High-flying arena football.
Yes.
I believe it's 90s night.
90s night.
Speaking my language.
Against San Antonio. So check out the Jacksonville Sharks.
Dress up like Left Eye.
Downtown or UNF Arena for Guns and Hoses. Plenty to do this weekend here in the River City. Plenty to do still to come on ESPN 690. Brent and Friends right after this.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly cloudy today. Temperatures topping out between 75 and 80. Still a little breezy at times. A shower or thunderstorm possible late tonight. Will drop into lower 60s. Then on and off heavy rain and storms tomorrow. Your Thursday high in the upper 70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds.
Don't miss Beards Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one wedding band sale going on now.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
From the moment the first note is played, the music takes over. Grammy winner Peter Frampton. Never Say Never Tour. June 28th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. The one and only Peter Frampton. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at theamp.com.
Life always has its challenges, but if you feel hopeless or suicidal, you don't have to face it alone. I'm Dr. Christine Caulfield, CEO of LSF Health Systems, and our free Link to Life program can help. We'll connect you with a care coordinator who will work with you to build better tomorrows. Please take suicide off the table. For more information, visit lsfhealthsystems.org or call 988 if you are in crisis.
The spring season on the campus of the University of North Florida is in full swing. A busy time to swoop baseball, softball, tennis, beach volleyball, track and field. Something for everyone at UNF. Find the schedules, results, the stories of the student athletes, and buy tickets at unfospreys.com. There are some fun things happening on the campus of the University of North Florida. You can also check out the strategic plan of the future for UNF athletics. It's all at unfospreys.com. Swoop with the Ospreys at UNF.
It's no secret that companies who conduct their business through e-commerce continue to experience substantial growth. However, what best practices exist if one wants to launch a business? For example, how soon should a website be created? How much effort should be dedicated to digital marketing? The answers to these questions are often not easy to come by, but here at SCORE, we have subject matter experts available at our workshops to provide timely and relevant information. Don't miss out on all that SCORE has to offer. Learn more and register for a workshop today by clicking on the Take a Workshop tab at jacksonville.score.org.
A good work partner knows what you need before you need it. That's how it feels when you work with Cintas. Your dedicated Cintas service reps get to know your business and have the industry knowledge that can help you prepare for what's ahead. They'll deliver your team's workwear freshly laundered. Make sure your first aid and safety supplies, mats, mops, and towels are stocked when you need them. And your fire extinguishers are inspected and in working order. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Hey, welcome back, Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. I was just looking at Jeffrey Simmons, who was emotional after getting, $94 million?
Yeah, I'd be emotional too. Yeah, man. Need a second bank account for all that spillover cash.
Where do you put it? What do you do? How does that work?
Pillowcase.
Big mattress.
I ain't trusting the banks these days. Come on.
Absolutely not.
Somebody told me a great story recently about someone that would put their cash, I forget the origin of what they did. Right?
Please
But
tell me you're about to
so
describe
far-
Breaking Bad.
I was going to say, so far, it's a good story.
So they put their cash in a sock.
Not as fun.
All right. And so this must have been more than just dollar bills, because they went and bought something of significance.
Like a car?
Even bigger than that, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe a business or something like that. So,
With the
or
sock
at least
money?
a down payment and they had 250 socks filled with cash.
Silver dollars.
Yo.
I was like, that would be awesome.
You don't see that often, but what you do see sometimes are these petty repayments or lawsuit payments where someone gets sued, loses a lawsuit, has to pay $50,000 in damages, and delivers those damages in pennies or
Yeah,
something
like parking ticket payments
Yeah,
too.
or oiled pennies or something.
That happens probably quite a bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a little pettiness.
If you get that amount of money, how tempted are you? Maybe it's just me. Have you seen Breaking Bad where Walter White rolls up to the storage unit and he opens it and it's just all that cash and then they lay on it?
Yeah, man. It's a Scrooge McDuck moment.
You have to do that, right? I would be I got to do this. I don't know how. I'd have to rent out, I guess, the storage unit the whole place for 2 days because I don't want anybody in there with my money in there.
It's going to be laying on faint fecal matter and cocaine remnants.
And that would be my, well, I don't know about that.
That's what you're going to find on the cash.
Maybe
That's
not that part of it.
That would be my all-time
lay on the clean
profile
part.
picture, just laying on the cash.
Yeah, that'd be a good flex.
Well, anyway, I did see Jeffrey Simmons. That's how we got on this topic. and I just thought the Simmons story is actually really cool in a lot of respects. He was a guy that suffered the ACL late in his collegiate year, right? I believe it was, or maybe even in the bowl game.
I think so.
And so Tennessee takes a shot at him in the 20s somewhere in the first round. And they can't even have him. They don't use him for the first year.
Correct.
Maybe late that first year he got back in there. And now it's really worked out. So
he tore his ACL while training for the draft.
So it was while training. It actually goes back to an earlier story we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
About the gap. This happens. And so he really did lose upfront money. He was still picked in the first round, but he would have been probably a top 10 pick, I think, if not for the ACL.
He also had that other thing that some people may or may not think was a thing, but it did happen, which also hurt him. So there was two things working against him. Tennessee still picked him way later than he would have gone, and then he's great now, as projected. He was projected to be great.
Yeah, he had an on-campus incident, right?
I was that's very vague. Okay.
It was...
Or was it a domestic situation?
It was domestic, but if I remember correct, it was a fight between another female and his sister, and he stepped in, and he hit the other girl.
March 2016, senior year in high school, arrested and pleaded no contest to assault after a video surfaced showing him repeatedly hitting a woman while she was on the ground during a fight with his sister and mother.
Yeah, so that was what it was.
So that was you had it, Kasey. So that situation was even prior to college, and then he gets the situation with the ACL going into the draft process.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is how good the guy is, right? Even with those situations, and really the injury at this time becomes probably the significant part of the equation for the GMs and front offices, and he still gets picked,
19.
I believe it was in the top 20. What was it? 19th. But he would have been a top 7, 8, 10 pick, I got to believe,
Absolutely.
without the injury.
Yeah, he would.
And, for the Titans, good on them. They took the chance, and it's really worked out for them. And for Simmons, I can see why he's emotional after going through all that stuff where you might not even have your college scholarship anymore. Everybody's labeled you a certain way. You then tear your ACL going to the pros, and now you've turned it into a career. Like, some people believe in second chances. Some people don't believe in second chances. Some people get labeled, canceled, all that other stuff. But I think the story of Jeffrey Simmons is at the end of the day one of success for both the Titans and him, whether you like it or not.
Correct.
It's a successful story to the tune of $90+ million, and Tennessee got the player they thought they were getting, even though they knew they weren't going to have him for a year. Like, listen, that's easy to do in college when you can redshirt a guy or you got 5 years or whatever it is.
Sure.
It ain't easy to do in the NFL when your job's on the line.
Well, especially because they invest money in you, where I guess nowadays in colleges do too with the NIL stuff. But it's not the same where the college itself isn't throwing a portion of a salary cap at somebody they're not even going to get to use. It's so rare, but it worked out.
Let's flip that into the draft in the AFC South, because we've got our eyes on the AFC South, and we really have them more on the other teams, I feel like, than even on Jacksonville.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Jacksonville is going to pick 24th. They're going to hopefully get an impact player, but we have no idea where they're going to pick, who they're going to pick. We all have our ideas that we think we should do, they should do, whatever. But we really don't have a good idea what they're going to do and how much that player will impact in the next season or beyond. Meanwhile, the rest of the AFC South is picking in the top 11. The Titans could even move up. They could be an interesting player here. The Colts are 4. They could trade up. The Texans are 2. They're not moving. But quarterbacks could win the day in the AFC South with some of the first-round moves that get made. What are the other needs of these teams? Because we've got our eyes on the quarterbacks. They're trying to remake themselves. The Texans seem like they've got a long way to go. We've had plenty of conversation about the Colts, who already have some talent, but maybe not enough talent, or maybe they've judged their talent wrong, quite frankly. And then the Titans, they're in a really weird spot because it looked like they were about to just dismantle it, but they still have Derrick Henry. They still have Ryan Tannehill, and they continue to add pieces or keep pieces like Jeffrey Simmons, but they have to remake their entire offensive line. Like, they got rid of everybody.
It does seem like they're in no man's land, doesn't it, as an organization? Like, they're not rebuilding, but they're not necessarily keeping the band together.
And they got a new GM who, is this his idea, or is he stuck with the idea that he can't really rebuild it completely until next year when you get, like, Tannehill's money off the books?
Yeah, a new coaching staff, too, by the way, who's going to get a false start here because they're going to get rolling with whatever team they put on the field this year, and then if they do what you think and they end up breaking it down once Tannehill's money comes off the books, they essentially are starting over from zero. But the top needs for the Titans, as we've been discussing, that offensive line, specifically on the interior at guard and center. They also need some help behind Treylon Burks. He's really the only wide receiver of note on that team. You've got needs at tight end as well. We saw last year they were kind of hurting at tight end. Cornerback and edge rush. So they currently hold the number 11 pick like you were talking about, Brent, but we've seen them mocked up to 3 in a bunch of recent publications. And then a lot of these analysts talking about hearing the buzz that the Titans have been making calls to the Cardinals, talking about moving into that 3rd spot as it's a real possibility. So a lot of the experts have guys like Skoronski and Paris Johnson Jr. as players that the Titans could target because those are big offensive line guys, but those are tackles. Those are bookends. And the question is that the biggest need for the Titans versus some of those other holes? Obviously, they got rid of Taylor Lewan in the offseason, and they are looking for their next star at tackle. But will they blow the 11th pick on it or even possibly higher up that list? I still think they need someone like a Jackson Smith and Jigba or one of these other wide receivers, a Josh Downs, a Jalen Hyatt, just for any help whatsoever on offense. I mean, it's Derrick Henry and Bupkis. You really don't have much going on there in Tennessee right now.
Yeah, the Akeem Westbrook kid, Burks. I mean, Burks obviously is someone they're invested in. But
and he came on late, but, he's not all-pro receiver right now.
Yeah, he just doesn't – you just don't know. I guess maybe he really takes a step, and that's what they're thinking in Tennessee. And you said Derrick Henry, but even how much more can you just run everything through Derrick Henry?
We're going to find out.
Behind an offensive line that's remade.
Yeah.
So – again, I look at this, when I talk about these other teams in the AFC South, I think of it as, are you scared of them, right? Like, are they going to threaten? Listen, the Jags are the front runner right now. So are you afraid of any other team in the AFC South? And the answer right now for me to Tennessee is no. I think Tennessee is going to be better than we probably think they are because of Mike Vrabel. He's a very good coach, and I think he's earned that. But outside of that, I'm not afraid of their offense, and I'm really not afraid of their defense. And I'm not afraid of Tennessee. And I don't think they can get that much better. That will change my mind in this draft coming up in a couple of weeks.
Well, not at the number 11 pick, because that's likely going to be an offensive lineman. That's really the sweet spot where the run on offensive lineman is being predicted between the 4 big guys that are in the top of the first round. It's a little too late for one of those premier corners we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. It's a little too early for one of the better wide receivers. It's way too late for a good quarterback. And you're not picking an inside linebacker at number 11. I don't care who you are. So you're really just talking, if they stick at number 11, picking up a Skoronski or a Paris Johnson Jr., and while that player may end up being great for the Titans, you're not adding wins with Tannehill still under center just by keeping him upright. Like, you still have all the issues Tannehill had last year with no other guys on offense to help out and a defense that's somewhat questionable. So to your point, unless they're moving up to 3, I don't think they're making much change in the draft either.
But here, I'm going to tell you something weird. I don't know if, Kasey, you agree or not, but if they move up to 3, I almost consider them less of a factor this year.
Well, because
they're making a longer-term investment for the future. Now, it might scare you down the road if they go pick up Levis or Anthony Richardson, and we'll see if it works out. But if they move up and get their quarterback, like, they're certainly not – it doesn't feel like they're helping themselves out for 2023.
No, no, because I don't think that guy's going to play. I mean, whether we agree or disagree on that, I think they're playing Tannehill either way. If he's still on their roster, and you can let that guy develop kind of the Malik Willis plan that just didn't come to fruition. But, yeah, I mean, I would agree that if they pick quarterback or even if they pick offensive lineman, there's no really reason to be worried about them. Now, if for some reason they do get Jackson Smith and Jigba, I wouldn't say I'm worried.
He could impact an offense.
I'm feeling it, though. You know what I mean? Because Treylon Burks, I don't think is bad. He did not excel last year given the situation, but you give him Smith and Jigba and then he's your number 2, and if Derrick Henry's half of what he can be, you start feeling it a little bit.
So granted, Ron Carthon's new over there, like he wasn't with them last year when they picked Malik Willis, but you mentioned Malik Willis, and I think you got to at least put it out there. Even if the Titans move up to number 3, which presumably would be to draft Anthony Richardson most likely, I think we're all in consensus on that.
Yeah.
Like, how gun-shy do you got to be if you're the Titans? If you're Amy Adams Strunk sitting there in the owner's box going, didn't we just do this last year? Didn't we just go up and get a quarterback? And it was a development kid, and we hated it so much, we called up Josh Dobbs to play football instead of letting this kid get on the field. Like, you're going to go back to the well and get another development project less than a year removed from the first one?
Well, I think it's less to do with that concept and theory than it is to do they fired Robinson, the GM, in part because of a move like that, because of A.J. Brown, because of some of the moves on the roster that weren't building toward having a more sustainable roster. So I don't know if it's the actual methodology of how they get there. I think it was the actual choice. So I think you can get away with it with Carthon. If he thinks that's the way to go, well, I'm making the choice now. I'm the decision maker. I'm going to get it right. So I think they could fall into that. Listen, we talk a lot about Indianapolis, too, and I think we've had so many conversations. I think where my mind, and maybe you can give us some draft needs for Indianapolis real quick before I get to Houston.
Right off the rip, obviously, they need help at quarterback. They've got Gardner Minshew on the team. They've got Ellinger on the team, but they've been rumored to be looking at quarterbacks all throughout the draft process. Cornerback also important for them. Interior offensive line. The offensive line used to be really heralded out of Indianapolis, and that's where they really struggled last year. They think the interior needs some reworking there. Edge and wide receiver. Clearly, we know the wide receiver group needs help. Ballard obviously entering what is probably the most important draft of his entire career in Indianapolis. Really needs to get this one right. The owner has been talking about really wanting to focus on drafting a quarterback, and so that's what everyone thinks they're going to do here in the first round.
So there you go. That's Indianapolis, and what will be fascinating is, do they have to move up to get their guy? Will they just get the rest of what's available at quarterback? Will they even go quarterback with what is left available for them at number 4? Just to put a bow on this conversation, I really think if you look at the next few years, Houston's the most dangerous team in the AFC South. And the reason I think that to be the case, they might have the next up-and-coming coach. They are sitting in the 2-hole guys, which means they really could end up with the best quarterback in this draft by default. They might not be the one that chooses that, but it's not all the time that the number 1 pick is the best guy.
It's often never that case.
Right? So they could fall into whether it's Stroud or Young without having to make the decision, whichever one might turn out to be better.
And both will be fine.
And both could be good. But I'm just saying they might get the better of the two. And and not even have had to make a decision.
Here's what I love about the Indianapolis situation, though. And I agree with you on Houston. I think they're the ones who potentially can turn it around the quickest. And
let me give you one more thought on that, just to end that on the Houston, so we don't have to stay too much on them. They know the direction they're going in. Like, they know they've already ripped it all down. They're headed in that rebuild. They're adding. They know they're not great. The other two organizations in this AFC South, Indianapolis and Tennessee, I don't think they know exactly what path to take.
Certainly not in Tennessee.
Right? And Houston knows. And I think when you know the path, at least now you have a mission and a direction. And I think these other guys are more fork in the road, crossroads, based on maybe how things go in 2023.
That being said, we have seen Indianapolis go from bad to playoffs on multiple occasions over the last 20 years. We have not seen that out of Houston.
True.
But back to Indianapolis for a second, because here's what I love if I'm a Jags fan. All the rumors about Tennessee trading up to number 3. There were also lots of rumors about Indy being interested in number 3. And here's what I'm doing if I'm Arizona. I got both these guys on line 1 and line 2. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, Indy, you should hear the package Tennessee just offered me. Oh, Tennessee, you should hear the package Indy just offered me, because it's one thing to getting to a bidding war for a draft pick. It's another thing when the bidding war is within the same division. Like, Indy definitely does not want the Titans getting their pick. And the Titans definitely do not want Indy drafting the quarterback that they have their eye on. And so you might get into a situation where you're not just paying a premium because it's a bidding war between two teams, but you're paying an extra premium because you really badly don't want to lose to the guy you're bidding against.
Well, I think that's what happens sometimes. I think you pull the trigger on picks or trades or whatever else because you fear what someone else might do. Dangerous way to go. Because sometimes the best move is the move you don't make.
That's right.
Right? That often happens in the world of sports. We will see what the Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Tennessee Titans do. More eyes on them than the Jacksonville Jaguars in this 2023 draft, and boy, doesn't that feel good. Mm-hmm. Jags, no doubt, are in the perch in the AFC South. Everybody's chasing them, not just for right now, but really for the next few years. The Jags look like they're headed in a certain direction, and that direction has been cemented, it feels like. Everybody else still trying to find their way. Jags in a pretty different position than they've been in over the years. We've got more to come. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. Don't forget, always watch us with the Action Sports Jacks crew on TV, CBS 47 and Fox 30, including Action Sports Jacks Primetime, 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47, half-hour shows Saturday and Sunday. Trust me, nobody else locally in the country does that.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Jason Fitz and Harry Douglas are Fitz and Harry.
Lamar at this point has made it very clear he feels disrespected through this whole process. He feels devalued through this whole process. He's made it abundantly clear he doesn't want to play for the Ravens. He's also made it clear he's pissed off about the way they've turned the conversation to him quitting on his team. You think money fixes that? No, money doesn't fix that level of feelings. Like, money didn't fix that level of feelings long-term for Aaron Rodgers. It ain't going to fix that level of feelings short-term or long-term.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
Get ready for a month of nonstop excitement at the one and only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine. Best Bet. Hit it big and win even bigger with InstaPay weekends every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And don't miss your chance to win big with our $100 Lucky Seat giveaways every 15 minutes on April 5th and 10th. Plus, we're bringing you $1,000 high hands between all Best Bet locations on April 10th, along with daily high hand promotions. Best Bet St. Augustine, conveniently located at exit 311 off I-95. For more information, visit bestbetjacks.com.
Just be confident. Just be valued. Just be totally zen. Community First makes smarter banking simple, easy, and convenient with better rates, fewer fees, and great digital tools so you can relax, confident that you're managing your money the right way, yours. Add an account today on your phone, tablet, or desktop at justbeyourself.com. That's justbeyourself.com. Community First Credit Union. Just be yourself. Federally insured by NCUA.
It's time for Guns and Hoses. First, put your poker skills to the test April 13th at Best Bet Poker and see if you can take home the Guns and Hoses Big Pot. Then, for even more fun, come on out to UNF April 15th to watch the police take on the firefighters in an epic boxing match. Come early for the street party and stay for the main event. Who will win bragging rights? Guns and Hoses. Support your local first responders while having a fun night. Who will you be cheering for? Visit GNHJAX.com to get your tickets today.
Hey, this is Bruce.
And I'm Carrie.
We're the owners of Koala Insulation. It's a great time of year to invest in energy-efficient improvements to your home. With our competitive rates and new tax credits for insulation upgrades, you can get huge savings to improve your insulation today and see long-term savings every month going forward.
Give us a call and set up your free evaluation at 679-6282 or find us online at koalainsulation.com.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
And we're Anajar and Levine. Experience the Anajar and Levine difference by calling us with any of your legal needs. Call 1-800-747-FREE for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Main office, Jacksonville.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
If you're experiencing domestic violence, Hubbard House is here for you. Access life-saving, life-changing resources by calling 904-354-3114.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-280-2288. That's 800-280-2288. 800-280-2288.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Sarah wants a yard. My own little paradise. Brad, however, hates yard work.
The only thing I hate more than cutting the grass is paying someone to cut the grass.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Sarah and Brad found a great home with a yard. A very, very small yard.
Time to get it done. And I'm done.
Bundling without compromise at geico.com.
Every piece of land has a story. Some right there is behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor, like the Upshaws.
This is my tractor Penny. It's all about attention to detail.
But the Nelsons love cruising around their expansive Montana ranch in their John Deere Gator UV.
We've been here since 1868.
While the Caggianos drive a John Deere zero-turn mower to keep their Long Island brewery looking sharp.
Don't call me, don't bother me. I'm going out to mow for a couple hours.
Run with us and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with the ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
All right, here's the deal. The kid's birthday's coming up this weekend, right?
Yeah.
So we're going out to dinner tonight.
Okay.
I got some parenting advice for later in the week that I'll save for you guys.
Whoa, I like parenting advice.
I just remembered your kids have the same birthday. Go on.
Yes, they are twins, so they have the same birthday.
That's how that works.
On tax day, which I don't know if tax day is still a Saturday, but that was always memorable. So anyway, we say, like, where do you want to go to dinner? Yeah, Kaylee and Ty are pretty simple. And so we're going to the Olive Garden.
Hospitaliano.
For tonight.
It is not the Olive Garden, dude. It's
No?
Olive Garden. We're not going to the Olive Garden. We are going to Olive Garden.
I don't understand why this is such like an old guy thing.
Brent, I find it acceptable. You're good.
I mean, it's the Ohio State University. Why can't it be the Olive Garden?
Yeah.
It can be if you're 85.
Oh. Well, we are going with an 89-year-old. I mean,
okay, then you know what? Actually, it's good. It's okay. I'm going to count it.
Do you know why
you're going to get some breadsticks because of the breadsticks?
Do you know why we're going to the Olive Garden?
Yeah, it's the breadsticks, clearly.
Kasey?
I'm guessing breadsticks as well.
Nope. Guess again.
The salad.
Nope.
It's the Hospitaliano.
Nope.
They want olives, and they're slightly confused on what they serve.
You're interested in paying $52 for a tour of Italy.
Now you're getting closer.
Okay.
They want the wine pasta, but they can't drink wine, so they think it's a good way to get drunk.
Guys, we are going to the Olive Garden.
Because you like Justin's new show, Forget About It, and you want to get in the mood. I get it.
Just to pay the bill and get a few of those Andes candies at the end of it.
What a disaster.
I'm not lying.
Nah, I believe you.
It's not the breadsticks. It's not everything else. The salad, the unlimited salad. Can get soup and salad, by the way.
Yes, you can.
Hall
of Fame
Andes
breadsticks.
Candies at the end. Like, I'm not making this up. Like, that is why we go.
Yeah.
Like, that is why they were going.
You could put their minds in a blender if you got them a bag of Andes mints for their birthday that you opened before the dinner.
Yeah,
no, but even Steph will say this.
You'll save
it's
like
not
$150.
the same. It's not the same.
Oh, come on.
They are convinced it's not the same if I buy Andes candies at CVS or if you get them at Olive Garden.
Why don't you lie to them?
Like, what kind of brainwashing is this?
Why don't you say I just went and bought a lot from the Olive Garden? They sold them to me.
Well, that's what my buddy Pat said.
Like,
He's
you
like,
should
how
try
about if
it.
I go in and pay $20 for as many Andes candies as they'll give us,
Yeah.
and then we'll go eat somewhere else?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You should tell your family you did that and feed them Walgreens Andes and then call them out when they're like, yeah, these are them. They'll be like, no, they're not stupid. Nobody does this.
It did get me thinking, like, do you guys have places that you go just for, like, one item that really doesn't add up? Like, I'll give you another example. We like Texas Roadhouse, and I don't mind Texas Roadhouse, but you know why you go to Texas Roadhouse?
The rolls, yeah.
The rolls.
Yep.
Like, that is it. Like, that's why you go.
Yeah.
And then the rest is okay. Like, it's cool.
It's
Like,
pretty
good
good.
atmosphere, throw peanuts on the floor, like that kind of stuff, too. But the rolls is why you go.
I only go to Cantina Laredo for the guac they make at the table.
Well, there you go. There's another example.
I don't even really like guac, but theirs is delicious.
Now that's something. So you go to a place for the guac they make at the table, but you don't even like guac.
Normally, but theirs
so you
is,
just want to see them make it at the table.
Theirs is really good. It's delicious. They make it by hand with all the fresh ingredients. You watch it. It's great.
Man.
I actually thought of one. Moe's for the queso.
Oh, the queso is fire.
The
My goodness.
Moe's queso's better than anything else.
So good.
Look at us.
So good. Or the little piece of jalapeno or something in there, too.
Yeah, they're
Whatever's
good.
in there is
and then
great.
A lot of people will say they go to McDonald's for the Sprite and Coke.
Boo.
You know what? The Diet Coke at McDonald's
There you
is
go.
better than
It's been
anywhere else.
documented that they make it with a different mix than everywhere else gets.
That's a good.
I didn't know that.
The thing about it is, like, you like to go for the ice cream, but the ice cream machine is what?
Always broken.
Yeah, always broken.
Look at you guys.
Always broken.
You know, I went to McDonald's recently on that Ocala trip to get ice cream for the girls, and I was like, so I got it through McDonald's.
you were a
They like-
Checkers guy.
and I had 4 people say to me, "Wow, the ice cream machine wasn't broken."
That's a thing.
It's a meme. It's not a thing. It's a meme.
No, it's a thing. We went in high school to the McDonald's. This might have been with Christian Kirker, who you believe is fake. And we rolled up, and they said, McDonald's, whatever. And my friend was like, "Is the ice cream machine broken?" They're like, "Yeah, we just pulled off." Look
Football
at
at 5
It's a
coming up
thing.
next. Brent Friends on ESPN 690. See you at Olive Garden tonight for the Andes candies and everything else that comes with it. Dessert should at least be really good. Don't forget about the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 card as well. Play golf for less. ActionSportsJaxDream18.com.
Ready for a helpful tip? If you've got to drive it, rent it with Rent a Toyota at Arlington Toyota. Whether it's a car for a business trip, an SUV for an outdoor adventure, or a spacious minivan for that family vacation with all the stuff. If you've got to drive it, rent it with Rent a Toyota at Arlington Toyota. Rent a Toyota at Arlington is the best way to try it before you buy it. You can even rent 2023 models. And Arlington's competitive rental rates will put you behind the wheel with ease. Reserve your rental online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live,
you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey folks, Dave Benyon here with Zero Res. I'm here today with my son Ammon. Ammon is the air duct manager for Zero Res. So Ammon, many people may be wondering, why should I get my air ducts cleaned?
Well, there's two good reasons. First is indoor air quality. As we live in our homes, we generate a great deal of air pollutants such as dander, dust, and chemicals. These contaminants are pulled into the HVAC system and are recirculated 5 to 7 times per day. The second reason is that a clean system is much more energy efficient than a dirty one. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, 25 to 40% of the energy used for cooling a home can be wasted. Contaminants in the HVAC system cause it to work harder and shorten its lifespan.
So, what kind of deals are you running?
This month, I'll give you $50 off your air duct cleaning, and if you mention WOKV, I'll disinfect your air ducts for free. That's normally $100.
Wow, so I can get up to $150 off?
That's right.
Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 2 winner-go-home games in the NBA play-in tournament on the way tonight. Leads off with the Raptors and Bulls. Winner takes on the Heat for 8th in the East, then Thunder Pelicans. The Timberwolves await that winner for 8th in the West. Covered 6:30 Eastern ESPN Radio, 7 Eastern ESPN TV. No plans by Giants running back Saquon Barkley to sign his franchise tender before the start of New York's offseason program Monday. Negotiations between the sides on a long-term deal remain stalled. He's not eligible to take part in OTAs unless he's under contract. Barkley now is making a point by not signing the tender, explains ESPN's Ryan Clark.
He is disgruntled that he did think that he deserved to get that long-term contract that Daniel Jones got. But when you look at the team, New York had a decision to make. Which guy is going to be signed up for the long term, and the other dude, you're going to be franchise tagged. And that was Saquon Barkley.
Ranger shortstop Corey Seager strained hamstring out at least 4 weeks. Jake Paul, Nate Diaz will square off August 5th in the pay-per-view bout between two of the biggest personalities in combat sports.
If you're experiencing a spring hiring rush, then you need Indeed. Their powerful all-in-one hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine offers a tuition-free educational program to prepare the child for a lifetime of success. FSDB offers free comprehensive education, transportation, and boarding services at no cost to all eligible deaf or blind students, elementary through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. Call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org to learn more.
It's prime golfing season, but don't pay full price at area courses. That price can be steep these days, but it's a good deal if you have the Dream 18 card. Save on greens fees on some of the best golf courses in the area. Save hundreds of dollars. Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, The Yards, Amelia River Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club, part of the Dream 18 card. Buy it now for just $69. Save hundreds of dollars. Action Sports Jacks, Dream18.com. The Dream 18 card, Action Sports Jacks, Dream18.com.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer free check engine light diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax presents Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau.
We're going to have to show a little more patience than the year 2 pom-pom people.
Kasey Kurtz.
Yo! Well, what are we doing, bro? Come on!
And Aaron Schachter.
I'm all in favor of these two showing their love, really celebrating their relationship.
Get him! Get him! Hit him! Hit him! Yeah! Pull Jack from him! Yeah! Pull Jack from him!
This is Brent and Friends with Brent Martineau, Kasey Kurtz, and Aaron Schachter on Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. ESPN 690.
Football at 5 here on a Wednesday. Brent Martin, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz, as we continue to approach the draft. How about this? 2 weeks away, and we will have a draft special on Fox 30 with our Action Sports Jax crew on the TV side of things. Of course, it's always a special day here on ESPN 690 when we talk the draft. It's like each and every day. But we'll have a 1-hour special from the draft party with the Jacksonville Jaguars at 7 o'clock on Fox 30 on draft night. So, hey, the last couple of years, guys, we've been doing I would say 3-hour marathons, but they've really been start at 4 o'clock and go on TV until about 11:30, almost nonstop around the draft. And this year it's like, okay, back to the old days. Let's just go an hour.
Me and Case, we're just talking about this. We're throwing around the idea of doing like a draft watch-along party on social. For everyone watching the draft, we would be up on YouTube kind of discussing each of these picks. But the thing we're having a hard time with is that we'd be doing it for like 4 hours on a Thursday night.
So you're having trouble committing to the workload of this.
Well, it's right after a work day. It's not like we didn't just work 12 hours before it. So
it's not like you built a house during the day. I mean, come on.
I do tough manual labor around here, Brent.
Yeah, I don't think tough mental labor around here. And you do a fine job.
Oh, thank you, Brent. That's very nice of
you. But the question is, will you be mentally prepared to do another shift?
Yes, I think my body may not be up to it, but I will be mentally prepared to be out there. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put a little poll out there. Would you watch the draft alongside Kasey and?
Yeah, put it. If we get more than 20 yeses, even if we get 400 no's, we'll do it.
I mean, because to be honest, if we held 20 viewers the whole time, I'd count that as a
record.
win.
Yeah, record.
It would be a record.
You know how you guys were trying to trick my kids on the Andy's Candies at Olive Garden?
Were we?
I could trick all of Twitter and just put yes and yes.
Oh, do that.
You're really taking advantage of people. By the way, not only was Kasey, not
Don't
Aaron.
put no, put like maybe.
Maybe.
Yes and maybe.
Yeah, so that won't hurt your feelings.
Exactly. Not only was Kasey, and it wasn't Aaron, but not only was Kasey trying to trick your kids on their birthday, but he did refer to them as not smart for believing the trick when he then ruined it by telling them once you give them the present. Casey's plan always involves letting your kids down.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, or calling it like it is.
Oh.
Huh?
Ouch. Taking shots, not at you, Case, at the kids.
Yeah.
I think you should trick them.
Brent does a lot of child abuse on this radio show.
I mean,
well documented.
Listen, I know where these college applications are headed.
I still can't get over you going to Olive Garden for candies.
Listen, I can't get over it either. It's not like I want to go.
Can you bring us breadsticks for tomorrow?
Dude, I would love some of those breadsticks.
Listen,
come on, Brent.
Do you think we'll ever get Olive Garden here on the show? Even though I've just given them a bunch
I
of
would say it's extremely unlikely.
Unlikely?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
They're a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
You know.
They're probably not doing a lot of local advertising.
No,
right?
probably not.
breadsticks have been overrated like the last
Oh!
bit.
Oh, forget about it. What are you talking about here?
Like, listen, if I'm going to go to a place for bread,
Yeah.
I already told you the best place to go is probably Texas Roadhouse.
It's a different
For
bread.
rolls, it's a different bread. It's like a different species.
It's a different bread, and to be honest, you go for the butter at Texas Roadhouse because you put the butter on the rolls. The
Yeah.
rolls are just a thing to eat the butter.
Oh, Martineau over here is like, I hate cats. Well, that's why I don't talk to dogs. What? What are you talking about?
Exactly. Brent, this is a disaster. This is a horrible. You've said a lot of stupid stuff, including yesterday when you completely disrespected Calvin
I
Ridley.
wish Calvin Ridley was here right now. He'd be defending Olive Garden right to Brent's face.
He would say couldn't be Garden. He just couldn't be.
That's true.
I mean, come on, Brent. Have
is
some respect.
Overrated.
They are.
Then bring us your share tomorrow.
My first, they won't be really good by then, but my
We'll heat 'em up.
first 30 years of life on this planet, I would say Olive Garden breadsticks were like some of the best things I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
Oh, so once again, you're a hypocrite.
Well, no,
Last
what
10 or
trauma did you
15?
run into in the last 15 to 30 years?
What have you been doing with those breadsticks?
Just okay.
As you enter your 60s, you lose a little taste buds. Maybe that's what's happening.
Maybe that's what's happened. Maybe I just don't have the affinity for it like I used to, but they haven't changed, only I have.
I can't explain how much of a miserable night you're going to have when you have to go somewhere you don't even like their best feature and it's overpriced.
I love their salad.
So you're going to have to pay like $200 for breadsticks you don't want, all for freaking candies that you're going to get one of each.
What do you like about their salad?
The salad's fantastic.
Which salad?
It's just the dressing, Brent. Buy the dressing at the Walmart.
Well, we already do buy that. That's how much we like the Olive Garden dressing.
Okay.
Is we actually have it.
Just buy, but so you can buy the dressing, it's fine, but the candies are not the same.
Different tastes, different kids.
Okay. This is just a mess.
Well, listen, I can go buy like a bunch of Andy's candies. I don't need to go to this restaurant just for the candy.
But
Just
your
doesn't
family
make
does.
sense. But the kids do. It's
Right.
their birthday, man.
So lie to them. That's all I'm saying.
It's an old taste of Italy.
All right, can we get to some
Seriously, though, you can get like 8 breadsticks for pretty cheap. Me and Aaron will take them tomorrow. We'd appreciate
tomorrow? Like you, maybe I'll get them for you.
What do you mean, maybe? You're already going to spend $349, bro. Just add $8. Like, it's fine.
Do you want an Andy's candies as well?
I mean, I thought it went without saying. But you could trick us. Just
it
throw
sure
in one
sounds
for
like Kaylee and
Walgreens.
Ty are going to eat all of those.
Yeah.
YB in the iCryo chat chamber is like, y'all making me hungry right now. See, he respects Olive Garden.
That's it.
Oh, pasta fagioli.
I wonder who has has anybody been rated as the best breadstick?
Them.
Or roll?
Them.
Nah.
Now I'm gonna go looking.
All right, let me ask you. You get one choice. I'm bringing you Texas Roadhouse roll or an Olive Garden breadstick.
You bringing the butter?
Heck yeah, the butter has to come with it.
Easy with the language, Brent. Heck yeah, you can't say that on the radio. You know who's got good who's got good butter? Three Forks Steakhouse on the South Side's got delicious
Oh, now you're
salted
talking
butter.
to the everyday people.
I'm
Look
just
at you.
I'm not,
You
no,
hang
no,
out
no.
at 3 Forks.
You're talking to I don't, but I love that place. The butter is delicious. Carrabba's with some good butter too.
See, Simon actually does say,
is that a real
Texas Roadhouse best bread ever.
Okay.
End of the debate.
Anyone into Outback Steakhouse bread or no?
Yeah, I actually like
the
Outback bread.
Especially
Yeah, I do.
warm and it's
Yes.
delicious. Yeah.
What would that be called, the Outback Steakhouse bread?
Pumpernickel? Is that a
No,
pumpernickel?
that's not pumpernickel, though.
It's the same color.
It's the same color, but I don't think it's called that. But
Here are
maybe it is.
the top 10 restaurants with the most delicious breadsticks according to that bastion of top 10 ranking, thetop10s.com.
All right, what do we got?
We got Little Caesars.
What?
Boo. Pizza Hut.
No.
Olive Garden.
Please
number 3.
Okay.
Whoa. You started at 1?
I
Little
didn't mean
Caesars
to.
was 1?
It's this terrible website. Let's start at 10. How about that?
Well, we know
I know this doesn't do well for your argument for Olive Garden if those two were the first
You
two.
got Blaze Pizza, Cheesecake Factory, Chicago Pizza,
Cheesecake Factory's underrated.
Papa J's, Domino's.
Here's all pizza places.
Yeah, the problem with
I
the
mean,
pizza place breadsticks is they're just all cheese bread. They're not real breadsticks.
Yeah, this is a crappy ranking, top10s.com or whatever.
Olive Garden's the only place you're going to find a real breadstick.
Yeah.
And some
Steph
Hospitaliano.
Steph and I used to go out we used to go out to eat way more than we do now, and we still do quite a bit. But I mean, to
Weird
me,
flex.
the bread and the salad, that will sell me on a restaurant.
Daniel Kilkenny in the iCryo chat chamber goes, I miss Fazoli's. Better breadsticks than
Daniel.
Olive Garden.
Fazoli's, have you guys ever been to Fazoli's?
No, but Daniel says he used to go there, order a drink, and just eat free breadsticks.
Fazoli's is Actually, he's right on the money about Fazoli's. We used to have that up at school. I didn't think anybody around here would know what it was, so I wasn't going to bring it up.
Is that the one with the tomato on the logo?
Yes.
We had those in Indiana. I never went.
Never heard of this place. Now I think you can find them even in like Georgia, Alabama. Like we've been on the road to go to like travel tournaments and seen them. Fazoli's good, really good, like better than Olive Garden good.
Nope. Well,
that's the word on the street.
The good news is we'll see you here tomorrow with about 8 breadsticks for me and Aaron.
All right.
Excited for it.
I hope they're stale.
Dude, keep them in the bag. They give you a special bag.
They do give you a bag.
Yes, okay,
that
it's going to be
you can
fine.
heat up in the oven or something, right?
If you show up with no breadsticks tomorrow, just don't show up.
Do you think Olive Garden would be mad at us for this conversation or happy?
No, I think I'm defending the heck out of them. I think they'd be mad at you. Now, granted, in the scale of importance, they'd probably wish you were the one being happy with them and I was the one trashing them. But
who's the nobody who loves us?
You know, I'm trying. Olive Garden.
Do you think they're going to tweet at the show like Calvin Ridley did?
No, or Mike Clay. Definitely not. Maybe Fazoli's, though.
How about we talk some sports? Fazoli's.
That's fine. We can get to
bring them to Florida.
Bad about it.
Fazoli's. We get to Ari Miriov. Brent, this was your tweet you brought to me the other day. You were enamored with all these Falcons moves. Here's their Falcons offseason so far. Hold on tight, kids. They signed Jesse Bates and Calais Campbell and David Onyemata and Caleb McCary and Jeff Okudah and Jonnu Smith and Caden Ellis and Taylor Heineke and Scotty Miller and Mike Hughes and Mac Hollins and Lorenzo Carter and Eddie Goldman. And by the way, they have a top 10 pick at
nice
number 8.
Nice job with that. Well done.
That's a lot of work that the Atlanta Falcons did, and I feel like they're not a ton better.
That's what I brought up to you guys. I was looking at all that. You know, obviously we love Calais. He's 37-year-old Calais. You get Okudah in the trade, which didn't cost you a bundle. It didn't look like. But how good is he? He's played like 5 good games in his career at like that kind of level. Now, Jesse Bates is a good signing, right?
Sure. So, but, like, how much is the safety really helping your win-loss record?
Yeah, I think you could argue that. Like, they really have just remade their defense this offseason.
They needed to.
And I was looking at that. They did. They were 23rd points allowed last year. Last season, 23rd out of 32. Their offense was 15 out of 32. They allowed 22.7 a game. So it wasn't, like, gross. But they've really remade their defense, and I kind of had the same view of the names. Like, okay, how much better are you going to get with all of this? And maybe the answer is substantial once you put it all together. But I kind of feel the same way. Like, how much better are the Falcons?
Nah. See, here's where I'm at with this. And it's a lot of humans, right? Need more lockers, potentially.
A lot of work.
Yes, you do.
But
at a wing.
Little known fact. The Falcons were 1 game out of the playoffs last year in that crappy division.
That is true.
So I'm not saying that Jesse Bates is worth 18 wins, but I am saying if Jesse Bates is worth a half and Calais is worth a half and Okudah is worth a half and you can find somebody else worth a half, that's 2 wins. And if you have 2 more wins last year than you did last year, you win the division. And by the way, the team that won the division lost Tom Brady. So it's not a good division. They have talent. They've added enough pieces where you could say, hey, a win here, a win there, boom, you're winning the division. Now, you're not playing for the Super Bowl with this team. And if winning the division is just, if that's good enough, if that's the step, then fine. But I actually think it's the total opposite of what we see all these other mediocre teams do, and that's try to lose. This team is actually trying to win in their mediocre.
Oh, what a novel concept.
Well,
feels like it.
This is going to piggyback off a conversation that we had a couple weeks ago when you brought up how many close games teams had played from around the National Football League last year.
Yeah, and Atlanta was up there.
Falcons were on, they were second or something with 13, or maybe they were first.
It was more. First was Kansas City with all 17
Oh, that's
weeks.
right. Yeah.
But Atlanta was on that second line at 15 with a bunch of other teams.
Well, I just looked at this. I think they lost 8 games by 1 score or less last year. And so, looking at it, let's just say from Calais' point of view, where he thinks they could really be a factor in January and February. I have a hard time coming along with that because I'm not all in on Desmond Ridder. And I think they could have done some other things to be even in a better spot right now.
I'm with you.
At the quarterback position.
Totally.
Both last year and this year. But if you look at it from Calais' perspective, he might think this is 2016 Jacksonville. Jacksonville lost a ton of one-possession games in 16. They were 3-13 on the year back when they played 16 games, and then they turned it around into what they did in 17. So I can kind of see what Calais is viewing. And guess what else they did in 17 here in Jacksonville? Added a bunch of free agents.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't seem like if you look at that, like you look at those two comps, like where's the slam dunk, huge impact play that they made in all these signings, Kasey? Bates does seem like the best player going right now of all those guys.
He is.
But again, at a very a less than impactful position, I would say. So Calais was awesome. The year prior, they got Malik Jackson. They ended up trading for Marcel Darius. I mean, those three guys alone made a huge impact. And now A.J. Boye was fantastic for the Jags. Who else did they add defensively to that roster? Well, we'll just go there. They already had a nucleus of pretty good talent. So I just don't see that kind of impact from this free agency class. I get what you're saying, though. Maybe bits and pieces of it are enough to put over the top. The Jags, if you go back to their year, they got boom, a boatload from some of those guys, Calais especially.
Here's all you need to know. Last year, the offense was run through guys like Desmond Ridder, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. However, Pitts was a little bit injured, and Ridder didn't play the whole year. That being said, that led the Falcons to be sandwiched team offense between the Steelers and the Jets. And they did almost nothing to improve that offense. Almost nothing.
Yet. Still got the 8th pick.
Where do you think they're going with it?
I don't know. It's for the draft special, my guy.
Well, this is what I'm saying. They're not going wide receiver. They're not going tight end. They're not going running back. At 8?
No, I don't. They're not going tight end. They're not going running back. I mean, they did it last year. Why not do it again?
Wide receiver at 8?
Here's what they're hoping, a little bit like we're hoping in Jacksonville, that some of those picks from last couple of years take a step. And now I know Drake London was good at times, but can he even elevate more? Pitts really comes into play here, right?
Yeah, he needs to bounce back.
Pitts is a guy that they need to bounce back. So they just need him to be maybe what he was in his first year, London to be what he was at his high point times, and now you do have much more on offense. Again, the problem for me, the buy-in for me, goes back to Ridder. Maybe they're really right on this guy. Like maybe he's something special. But if he's just pedestrian, you just did all this work to probably not be that much more improved on the offensive side of things.
Yeah, but that's why you build the defense. We don't have to be great offensively. We just have to be better than whoever they pick number 1 overall as a rookie, Baker Mayfield and Derek Carr.
Yeah, but you can't just score 21 points, 22 points anymore in today's NFL and think that's going to work, in my opinion, Kasey. Like, you've got to go get to 27 points. They've got to take a 5 to 6 point jump, even in that division, I think, to win enough games.
I think you could argue that they can find another touchdown per game if Kyle Pitts plays every game of the season, and whether it's at the 8th pick or not, they draft one of these wide receivers that they can play and feel good about, whether it's second round or third round. I would say you can find another touchdown there. It just depends.
Yeah, and you might be right. This will be a great exercise, and we should come back to this conversation at some point, maybe different points in the NFL season. But see, the Jaguars kind of in a similar boat in a different way. Like, they've already proven that it looks like their roster's pretty good. They won a playoff game, got to round 2, all that stuff. They are AFC South champs. But they kind of stayed with the same roster for the most part. They do add Ridley, which is pretty significant, but they didn't go out and make all these other additions and other things. So they're like, hey, we like what we have. Atlanta, from an offensive perspective, is basically saying, we like what we have. Now it'll be interesting to see if they are correct. The reason why this is a bit of a red flag, maybe for Jacksonville even, but for Atlanta, in my opinion, is one, I don't know if they have the quarterback, and two, this reminds me a little bit of the Indianapolis Colts of the last couple of years, where the Colts thought they were like, boom, right there. They were good. And they didn't make enough moves, even with a bunch of money on the offensive end of things, to be dynamic.
Yeah, they were just short of it.
And they had good – of course, they got the injury bug. There's different reasons. But let's be honest, the last couple of years for the Colts, they have not been as good as they thought they'd be offensively.
No,
their offensive line wasn't as good. Their playmakers on the outside that they thought they had weren't as good, and they could have done more. They were sitting on money.
It kind of felt like that window was a little stealthy. 2 years ago, I'm looking at that roster and that team going, this is going to be a good team for a while. They got 8, 9 Pro Bowlers on this team. They're all young guys. They're all locked into contracts, and then out of nowhere, it all falls apart so quick. It was impressive in a bad way.
Tweet land.
Let's go to NFL on ESPN. Back to the AFC South. We are talking about quarterbacks, but how about this? Adam Schefter on NFL Live. I don't think it's a lock that Houston is going quarterback at number 2. So I got to ask you, Brent and Kasey, tell me what drugs Adam Schefter is doing. Houston not going quarterback at 2. Is that even a remote possibility?
I'm trying to think what the alternative is at this juncture. Do they get in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes?
See, I'd go the other direction, and this is my usual go-to, though.
Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
But that's not what they're doing, it doesn't seem.
If they're not picking quarterback, what's the move? Like, if they don't immediately trade for Lamar, right, it would have to happen immediately. Like, you're
not guaranteed the number 1 spot.
Next year?
Yeah.
I don't know, dog. You run it back with Davis Mills? You kind of are.
You would think so.
I mean, they were guaranteed it this year. They didn't get it done.
They didn't get it. And, we could say the same about the Jets and the Jags. I'll never forget that lesson. It's traumatically burned into my brain.
But you still have capital, right? They still have another pick from Watson, or no? Is this it? Did they only get 2 first?
2 picks.
Well, I'm saying next year. Do they only have 1 next year?
Yeah, I think it's only 1. But
while you guys are figuring that out, I think you're bringing up an interesting part of the equation. Maybe it could be Caleb Williams based, Kasey, but what if they just think they can get a boatload for somebody to move up to number 2?
They can, by the way.
And they have a lot of holes to fill, right?
Yeah.
They've got a lot of rebuilding to do. And if they think they can get that much more, is it worth going back to 11 with Tennessee, which it would be really weird if AFC South rivals do that, but appease me for now. And Tennessee want to do that, you drop back to number 11. Maybe there's a quarterback still available. If not, we have our eyes on next year. Could be the case. Or you at some point work out a trade. Whatever happens with Lamar, you have all this capital to now work out a trade with him at some point, maybe even in the midseason.
The problem with Lamar is that they just bought him an Odell Beckham Jr., and so it just doesn't look
that's not
like
a slam dunk.
It's not. It's not. But it does look like that the Ravens feel confident, in my opinion, that they're going to resign this guy, or else they wouldn't have blown $15 million on Odell. In the same way, Lamar was out there recruiting Odell, so I find it unlikely that he's out there making all these promises to a fellow player, a peer, and he's just going to, still be trying to ditch him. But to the point, I'll buy the Houston Texans trading back in exchange for maybe next year, because obviously it's not just Caleb Williams, by the way. You got a whole Drake May in that draft as well. But, they did make some improvements to this roster. They did add a Robert Woods to the wide receiver core. They do have a Dameon Pierce still. So by the time you're getting him as quarterback next year, you're 3 years into the guy's deal.
Yeah, but, in that respect, they're not winning in 2023 anyway. Not winning anywhere near as big. They're not, speeding up the clock. Here's why this doesn't happen, is because when you have the chance to go pick the guy, you cannot control what you're going to pick next year.
Yeah.
When you have the chance to pick one of the top 2 guys, and there are 2 guys that, listen, most people would say, I would pick them if I was there and I needed the quarterback, you've got to go do it. So that's where this doesn't make much sense to me. But I guess you could talk yourself into Schefter's way of thinking here. And would Schefter say this if that hasn't been thrown about?
No, I think the Texans, or whoever he talks to at the Texans, said this to him. I think they intentionally said it to him, knowing he would say it on TV. Maybe they even told him to. I think he knows it's kind of garbage, and he's just going, well, this is things that I'm hearing because that's not a lie, even though everyone knows it's not serious, and they're going either Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud in the draft.
If you're getting – and – in a Bryce Young scenario, again, not everybody may be sold on him, okay, sure, but in this desperate market that some teams have, is it unrealistic to think they could get 3 first-rounders for that pick?
It's close, but no, not completely unrealistic. But I'm not buying it. But
because then if you have 2 next year and you don't have the first pick,
because now
you have the capital to go get them.
But now you're not just looking at a draft value chart going, my 3 picks I'm offering you is equal to this number 1 pick. Now you're it's got to be equal to the number 1 pick, and you got to help me get over the fact that I'm losing out on a generational quarterback.
But they might not see him that way.
This is what the Panthers had to do this season. They really had to overpay because the team they were trading with didn't necessarily need the quarterback, but they knew that other teams did. Next year, you're going to have that tenfold.
It'll be interesting. I don't see it. I would not bet on it happening.
No way.
I guess I could find some logic, but I think the only logic that really falls into play here is they are just going to be handed a treasure chest. And one thing GMs, and especially new GMs and people building or new regimes is a treasure chest of draft picks. They love it.
You make the team in your image.
They love that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it always works well. It doesn't seem to. but people love draft capital in front offices. They just absolutely adore it.
I think they love it for the same reason that when, like, you go to a job somewhere or a new boss gets to a job, he ends up clearing out some of the old guys' people and brings in some of their people.
And on that note, what about the logic that they could bring in Trey Lance for significantly less and still trade the pick?
I think that's a possibility.
Now, that's a decent play right there. We're just happy that, Aaron, you haven't been lost in that shuffle in recent memory of
firing old people?
Yeah.
They tried. I've been fired twice here.
Going for number 3, baby.
Here
I'm
he
trying.
comes.
The 3-peat.
Keeps coming back.
I'm trying.
Let's take a break. Football at 5. We'll get to some other tweets, including one that will lead us down a direction for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Evan Ingram with his situation. What is going on there? When we come back, Brent Friends on ESPN 690. About an hour away from coverage for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp right here on ESPN 690. It begins at 6:20. First pitch in Charlotte tonight at 6:35. Your home for Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp baseball right here on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Clouds moving in tonight with some rain toward morning as temperatures drop into the 60s. Showers and thunderstorms on and off for your Thursday. Some heavy downpours and a few strong storms. Have an umbrella handy tomorrow as temperatures reach the mid to upper 70s. From the CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jack's First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds.
Don't miss Beards Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one wedding band sale going on now.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
Discover how good your water can be with the new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. This month, you can get 50% off a Connecticut K5 drinking water system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Series softener. If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and provide solutions that are right for you and your family. Imagine having clean, clear, purified water at your home. No more plastic bottles, no more waste, just great tasting, purified water that you can trust. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. Financing options available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1428211.
Rich Jones here. Investing can be more about just filling a bank account. It's about having a secure retirement, protecting your family. Let DLP Capital help you to protect your why. Here's CEO and founder Don Wenner.
I started DLP Capital with an expectation that I could provide my family, my investors, my team members, and the families of my investors with awesome returns, limited volatility, and no losses, all while providing desperately needed affordable housing to the American workforce.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial ** invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Calling all poker players. Brace yourselves for an epic month of poker at Best Bet Orange Park this April. In honor of our 15th anniversary, we're giving away $15,000 in high hand promotions on Saturday, April 15th. And that's not all. Our highly popular $400 no-limit Hold'em Greater Orange Park Open with a guaranteed prize pool of $40,000 is happening on April 22nd. Don't miss your chance to participate in these exciting events. For more information, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save on the brands you trust. Right now, buy a select DeWalt 12-volt bare tool starting at $119 and get a DeWalt 12-volt 2-pack battery free valued at $129. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Discount taken at time of purchase. Battery and charger not included with buy items. Valid through 5/3.
O'Reilly.
Is your vehicle no longer stopping like it used to? Don't miss spring brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Our professional parts people will help you find the brake parts and supplies you need. Now through April 25th, get 15% off when you buy a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's so much I love about spring. Warmer weather, flowers blooming. It's hard to choose a favorite. Kind of like the amazing used selection you'll find at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. I'm talking 400 premium pre-owned on the lot. So to make your decision a little easier, you get 30 days to love your purchase or exchange it for one you do. And with 4.7 out of 5 stars and over 16,000 Google reviews, you know my friends at Arlington are going to help you pick the best ride for you. Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com.
It all comes down to this. Daniel Davis and Donna Deegan face off in the mayoral debate, live from the University of North Florida. Where do they stand on the big issues? What's their vision for the future of Jacksonville? Voters want to hear both sides. Join Action News Jax anchors John Bachman and Tanika Hughes for the Davis-Deegan mayoral debate, live from UNF, Thursday, April 20th at 7, only on Action News Jax.
The spring season on the campus of the University of North Florida is in full swing. A busy time to swoop baseball, softball, tennis, beach volleyball, track and field. Something for everyone at UNF. Find the schedules, results, the stories of the student athletes, and buy tickets at UNFospreys.com. There are some fun things happening on the campus of the University of North Florida. You can also check out the strategic plan of the future for UNF athletics. It's all at UNFospreys.com. Swoop with the Ospreys at UNF. Hey, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jax. Did you know you can watch our radio show? Yeah, video of a radio show. Just search ESPN 690 Jax on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Or follow me on Twitter at Brent A.S. Jax. Watch the show live weekdays from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. or listen on ESPN 690.
Hey, welcome back. Football at 5. Brent Martineau, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz. Let's go to some more tweets, which might get him onto some Evan Ingram conversation, I think.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to that tweet because clearly you have a thirst, an expectation, a hunger for this information.
Well, I do want it because I've got like an answer too. So.
It all starts with a Kim Jones tweet that's been making the rounds. She says, I'm told Saquon Barkley will not be signing the franchise tag and therefore will not be eligible to participate when the Giants offseason program begins Monday. More to come on Newsday Sports. That was quote tweeted by Ian Rappaport, who says, among franchise tag players, Tony Pollard has signed his tag. Josh Jacobs, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, and one Evan Ingram have not. No signed contract equals no off-season program. Brent, you think this is strategic, or are these folks just looking to extend their off-season vacation a little bit?
It's a good question. I don't think it's actual off-season vacation. I think it's posturing because at the end of the day, they all want long-term deals. And so I take this into anybody's workplace. If you are negotiating with your employer, don't get what you want. Mm-hmm. And even it doesn't mean there's bad blood because of it. It's just business and hey, didn't get exactly what I wanted. That's the way it goes sometimes. Now, some get a little more tense than that, I understand.
We were just talking about that.
But you then have an option to show up at a voluntary whatever for the next 4 Saturdays to help out the company or get yourself ready or extra training in XYZ. But it's voluntary. Well, why would you go?
Well, I guess the case for going would be because it's such a team sport that requires a near telepathy, like a near nonverbal communication on the field, if not completely nonverbal. And that only happens from spending time together, bonding, doing plays, doing reps together. But to the point that you're making, Brent, that I'm completely on board with, maybe more so than even you, there does need to be a consequence for the team. If they're not giving you everything you want, you can't give them everything they want.
And I'm not even a big believer, guys, in everything I want, right? Like, I mean, sure, it'd be nice. But, you know, negotiations are negotiations. You might not get it all the way to where you want it to be. But the bottom line is these guys don't want to be tagged to begin with, right? Players hate it.
Yeah.
They don't like to be tagged. He's still getting $11.5 million. He's going to be fine. It's okay. But like I've said many a times, find a way to get that more guaranteed money. Your extended deal, you bet on yourself, you won. So while we all would like, for the sake of the football team, for fandom, for the betterment of the Jacksonville Jaguars in the fall, because we think it matters that he's there, in Evan Ingram's case, or Saquon Barkley in the Giants' case, because now we can keep continuity and build off that. And on the field at some point in the next couple of months, you can maybe see Ridley and Ingram and Kirk and everybody doing their thing. Well, that's not my problem. If I'm Evan Ingram, that's not my problem. Like, give me the deal. And they have until June to get the deal done. So without it, I certainly wouldn't go. And I'm going to give you one more reason why. Same thing we talk about in this draft process.
Yep.
What happens if he gets hurt? What happens if something were to occur? Like, you're putting yourself at risk.
With no guarantee.
With no guarantee. Well, again, you have a comfortable guarantee on the franchise tag, but you're putting yourself at risk before that June deadline of getting an extended deal, because we know this in this business, that if he gets hurt doing something and might be out for even a month of the season, they're not giving him the extension. They're going to live on the franchise tag.
Yep.
Right? Negotiations stop, essentially. And they might not. They might try to be better than that, but they essentially stop.
I guess
we're not getting a deal done.
The real question here is, are any of those guys, it's Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Lamar Jackson, and Evan Ingram, are any of those guys at risk of not signing the franchise tag and sitting out?
All of them.
I don't think they are.
I don't think so.
I don't think any of them.
Give me those guys again.
Barkley, he would be the highest risk to me at this point. Lamar Jackson, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I would have said, yes, he's a risk. Not anymore.
Jackson's the biggest risk by far.
And Josh Jacobs, who I think is in.
Here's the deal with running backs, guys. You have to sign it. It's $10 million. Like, you don't have a big enough shelf life. You can't go sit out. You eventually are going to sign it.
We did see how that played out for Le'Veon Bell. Not too good.
Like those guys are signing it. Evan Ingram is going to sign it, in my estimation. Maybe he'll now jump in the show. Who knows?
So what percentage of danger do you put Lamar Jackson sitting out at?
I still think this is listen, man, I mean, this thing's been going on for 2 years.
Yeah.
He's pushed some buttons here as of late to show that he's got some animosity toward the organization. I know you think the OBJ thing solves everything. I don't think
it solves everything. I do think it shows us that they're way closer to figuring it out than we thought.
Maybe they are. And I've been on more the side of they're going to figure this out. He's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not, like, locked into it. So I'll go 60-40. He signs it. And that's with hesitance on my part.
Now, I always think the team is always there's always a probability the team will ship you out when you don't expect it. But I think it's a 0% chance Lamar sits out this year at this point.
Zero. Casey, where are you on that?
Oh, at least 50. At the bare minimum, 50%.
A half?
A half.
Holy smokes.
Listen. It's as simple as this. And
what you're going to get in breadstick world tomorrow when I bring it in. A half.
Ain't no way I'm getting half a breadstick.
Get a half a smile for half a breadstick.
You bring in half a breadstick, you're going to get smacked across the face. Listen, there is no reason for anybody in any profession to show up to work if you're not getting paid to do so. So don't show up.
We've heard that.
I know you guys have. That's why I brought it up. So don't show up. It's as simple as that. If you're not getting paid, if I'm a football player, I'm not working out.
That being said, I'm the king of free work, so I can't sit here and act
if I'm
like
not getting paid and you're a radio host, you don't do the show. It's as simple as that.
But it's different. But these guys are getting paid, Casey. That's not the same thing. Like, they're getting a $10 million. They're getting, like, in Lamar's case, he's getting $32 million, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's getting paid.
But he deserves more.
Way more.
That's a different category. Just because you deserve more, you think you deserve more, doesn't mean you don't show up for work. Like in normal world, that doesn't happen.
Oh, it does if you're getting underpaid by the company who has been taking from your talents for years, and you're in these contract negotiations and they're lowballing you like you're a schmuck or something, and then you're like, you know what? It's time I got paid, bros.
Guys, there's nobody on the planet other
facts.
than Lamar Jackson, potentially in the NFL. Nobody on the planet would say, hey, I'm not coming to work because I think I'm worth more than $32 million.
I wish I could do
Nobody. This is the only realm in the world that happens. Nobody else would do that.
All right.
And by the way, it doesn't have to be $32 million. It can be the $10 million for Evan Ingram. Like, I get it. It's a different world. But the only reason that he's even he could even contemplate this is because he's already got enough money in the bank account, and he's eventually going to get more, regardless. But no average person is usually getting paid $32 million a year anyway, but would pass that up because they're mad because they think they deserve more. Like, I couldn't believe a circumstance, even if you lower it to like $2 million, where that would happen. So it's just like it's totally different world in that sense. Again, I'm not with Kasey. I don't think this is like more than 50% he doesn't play. I'm not with you, though, at 0%. I think there's certainly – he seems like a man – this comes down to, are you a man of principle, so much so that you're going to draw the line in the dirt.
I believe he is, by the way. I believe he's a man of principle. I would even agree with someone who called him stubborn, not coming off of his negotiation platform. But I think he sees very clearly right now that it's Ravens or nothing right now.
Well, there's man of principle, and then there's $32 million. I'm a man of $32 million.
I think he thought, if you asked me a month ago, I would say he thinks he can wait it out. He can make the Ravens sweat it so much that they have to take a quarterback, or that another team comes in and goes, are you sure? Because we'll give you some offers here, and then maybe it gets worked out. I don't think he's thinking that way anymore. I don't think any team has come knocking, not the Patriots, not the Commanders, not the Lions. I think nobody is at the door waiting for Lamar, and I think he's looking at the Ravens going, fine, maybe another year. Let's do it.
Yeah, and maybe that ends up being the case. We'll see where it lands. Here's one last thought on this from me, guys, for Evan Ingram, for even Lamar Jackson, for the running backs that you mentioned. This is an overrated part of the calendar for NFL teams. It certainly doesn't hurt to be there. What is gained there that ends up happening in the fall, I don't know.
You're talking off-season activities.
Yes. Like the OTAs, the everything. You can do a lot of this stuff on your own and still be ready to play, and you might go 12-5 and win the division anyway. Didn't the Jags just prove this in a sense? Doug Peterson sent a brand new team home for mandatory minicamp in June. Didn't even do it. The team that had won 4 games in 2 years. And they went and had one of the best years in franchise history.
But certainly a decision.
While they didn't sit there for mandatory offseason volunteer workouts, you did have guys like Trevor and other quarterbacks around the league do their throwing programs with their wide receivers.
And they did most of the program, by the way. So that's a 3-day part of the window. But I've always thought this anyway. This wasn't just a Doug thing, but didn't Doug kind of pounded it home like, yeah, we don't really think this is that big of a deal either when he sent everybody home to vacation early.
So why is it on the calendar?
Now, again, that was a different circumstance in a sense because the Jags were coming back early because they had to play in the Hall of Fame game as well.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on there, but I've just long been a believer that it's fine that they're in the building in April and May. But much like I say about the spring game, however it looks this week for Florida, Florida State, Georgia, it has zero relation to what's going to go on in the fall. I just don't believe it does. Internally, if I was the coaching staff and everybody else, I know why I want as many people there as possible. I'm not saying you can't lay a foundation. I just think you can have the best 2 months here, and you can suck in the fall. You can have an okay 2 months here and be great in the fall. I just don't think there's a correlation at all. So I think that's the other part why this isn't that big of a deal. Why Evan Ingram, hey, sit out, man. Wait until you get that thing signed, or you know you're not going to get an extension, then sign it, and we'll see you in late July, early August.
Definitely sit out, though. Know your worth, King.
Let's take a break. We'll be back, put a bow on the show here. We got Jumbo Shrimp Baseball coming up in the 6 o'clock hour on ESPN 690. And don't forget, if you miss any of the show, always follow along on YouTube or Action Sports Jax channel, Action Sports Jax and ESPN 690 podcast as well, available on a daily basis.
Brent and Friends is sponsored by Best Bet, now open in St. Augustine.
Jason Fitz and Harry Douglas are Fitz and Harry.
Lamar at this point has made it very clear he feels disrespected through this whole process. He feels devalued through this whole process. He's made it abundantly clear he doesn't want to play for the Ravens. He's also made it clear he's pissed off about the way they've turned the conversation to him quitting on his team. You think money fixes that? No, money doesn't fix that level of feelings. Like money didn't fix that level of feelings long-term for Aaron Rodgers. It ain't going to fix that level of feelings short-term or long-term.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer free check engine light diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
My favorite thing about sports radio is hearing from you, about listening, maybe while you're driving to your next job or maybe you're going home. And many of you have hard jobs, a lot of manual labor, and we appreciate your work. Your body probably doesn't appreciate it sometimes. That's where QC Kinetics can help. They're helping so many people here in the Jacksonville area get lasting relief from joint pain without surgery or drugs. 2 local clinics in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, and the patient satisfaction reports are amazing. And now they've taken it to a new level with a new medical director, Dr. Peter Atch. He's a renowned triple board certified medical doctor with decades of experience. So if you're tired of living with pain in your back, hips, shoulders, or knees from all that hard work, don't let anyone tell you surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics and get a free consultation. Learn how advanced regenerative medicine can get you real relief with no downtime. All you have to do is call 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522. It's a free consultation. 904-274-5522.
From the moment the first note is played, the music takes over. Grammy winner Peter Frampton. Never Say Never Tour. June 28th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. The one and only Peter Frampton. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at theamp.com.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine.
If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE.
Main office, Jacksonville.
As the seasons change, one thing remains the same. Jacksonville and all of Northeast Florida are fueled by Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. If you spot ESPN 690 anywhere in the community, come hang with us and grab an ice-cold Celsius.
Springfest is here at Lowe's. Don't miss out on the best deals of the season. Refresh your yard with 5 bags of premium mulch for just $10. And refresh your home with savings on paint and stain. Right now, buy one, get one 50% off on 1-gallon cans and 5-gallon pails of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Paint, Stainmaster Paint, and Cabot Exterior Stains. Shop Springfest today. Valid through 4/12. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See store Lowe's.com for details.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
It's time for Guns and Hoses. First, put your poker skills to the test April 13th at Best Bet Poker and see if you can take home the Guns and Hoses Big Pot. Then, for even more fun, come on out to UNF April 15th to watch the police take on the firefighters in an epic boxing match. Come early for the street party and stay for the main event. Who will win bragging rights? Guns and Hoses. Support your local first responders while having a fun night. Who will you be cheering for? Visit GNHJAX.com to get your tickets today.
Action Sports Jax. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jax. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Hey, put a bow on the showtime here on ESPN at 690. Brent Friends, Aaron Schachter, Kasey Kurtz.
I like that it's got a name, and it's not really anything.
We just get used to saying it, man.
It's like calling something a sale when it's just a regular day.
Still to come this week on the topic idea. Maybe someday we will get to that 33rd team mock draft that you like.
We got a few of these. We got a new Mel mock, too. I like some of these latest mocks because we're at the time of the mock season, Brent, where the guys are like, all right, now what do we do to make people read it?
Well, not only that, this is the time of the mock season where people want to be right.
Yeah,
right?
As they get closer, yeah.
You know how it works in our business. We all eventually want to be the guy that says, see, I told you so.
Called it.
Right? And so now they've crafted all the clickbait and everything else to now get to this point where this is where they really feel like what's going to happen based on the information they have, or it's just a guess, which might be just a guess.
Yeah.
One quick thought, though, guys. Remember, Aaron Rodgers was an everyday topic, and it's gone so dormant.
Dead silent.
With the Packers and Jets. Usually, used to say this about the kids when they were young, when they're silent, something's happening.
Trouble a-brewing.
Right?
But this is the opposite, right? Usually you would think in this case when there's silence, they're working stuff out, maybe.
And maybe there is, but isn't there a report that the sides haven't talked to each other in weeks?
Yeah, so this comes from Rob Domofsky, who's basically said neither side has spoken in 3 weeks. And it could either mean one of a couple of things. Number one, that they've already agreed in principle to the trade, and they just got to wait until draft night or something. Maybe. I don't know. Number two, it could mean that they're at a stalemate still, and no one's ready to move, and no one's in a rush because, quite frankly, it saves one side a lot of money if you wait until after June 1st anyway. And then the third thing is it's just the Jets are jetsing it right now, and the Packers are feverishly calling every other team like the Niners.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to see. We talked about this last week. I think a team swoop in and maybe be a part of the mix.
God, that would be great.
Yeah, and I just don't know how realistic that is. Like, why would that change? Again, I would question people. Like, why weren't you on this earlier then?
Totally.
Like, what changed your mind? Like, nothing's happened in the last 2 months.
Well, a team may have missed on a Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo. Unfortunately for the Packers, that team was the Jets.
But the Niners got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, and they knew they were. So, like, nothing changed for the Niners.
No, I mean another team who maybe would have targeted him.
Yeah, I get that.
Who then would now go in on Rodgers for a year.
The only thing that would, like, teams like the Titans, to your point, right? Okay, that would make sense. But even them, from a dollar standpoint, doesn't make sense. Is this why the Schefter tweet about Houston came out? They're going Aaron Rodgers. No, he's 39. So. That doesn't make any sense, right?
Now you need a team with a window open right now.
But let's put some pieces together on what you guys said today. Trey Lance, Kasey to Houston opens the door for Aaron Rodgers to San Fran.
It all makes sense.
They do need someone to play until Brock Purdy comes off that bench, even though they signed a whole Sam Darnold there.
Amen.
Breadsticks and Andy's candies for everyone, baby.
We'll see you with the breadsticks tomorrow, Brent.
Hospitaliano.
Have a good night, everyone. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball coming up, 6:20 coverage right here on ESPN 690. Don't forget to watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30 as well each and every night. For Kasey Kurtz, Aaron Schachter, I'm Brent Martin. We'll do it again tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Brent and Friends on ESPN 690.
Shinedown, the Revolution's live tour. Friday, April 14th, VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. With special guest, 3 Days Grace. And From Ashes to New. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Shinedown live.
Right now, American Window Products is offering the newest features and window technology with Ultra Dual Low E glass and insulated vinyl frames with magnet weather stripping on windows for an airtight seal to help reduce your energy usage. All at an affordable price. This exclusive offer is for a limited time, so act now. to save big with 12 months, zero interest financing. Schedule a free estimate at AmericanWindowProducts.com. American Window Products, the window professionals. Financing at time of sale for new orders only.
Rich Jones here. If you're an investor who's interested in doing well while doing good, getting solid returns on your investments while making a positive impact, consider investment funds with DLP Capital. Here's Don Winter, CEO of DLP Real Estate Capital, to tell you more.
With the current housing shortage in the U.S., investing in real estate, especially workforce housing, is one of the safest and most reliable places to invest. We invest in affordable housing for hardworking people and generate amazing returns for each of our investors.
To get your investor's guide and find out more, dial ** invest from your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Get ready for a month of nonstop excitement at the one and only Card Room and Sports Bar in St. Augustine. Best bet, hit it big and win even bigger with InstaPay weekends every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And don't miss your chance to win big with our $100 Lucky Seat giveaways every 15 minutes on April 5th and 10th. Plus, we're bringing you $1,000 high hands between all Best Bet locations on April 10th, along with daily high hand promotions. Best Bet St. Augustine, conveniently located at exit 311 off I-95. For more information, visit bestbetjacks.com.
This is C.J. McCollum, star of the New Orleans Pelicans and co-host of the C.J. McCollum Show.
McCollum at the horn for three. Got it.
Inviting you to join Israel Gutierrez and me once a week as we discuss names and storylines in and around the NBA with the inside perspective you can only get from someone in the locker room and on the floor. Listen to great guests from players such as Brandon Ingram and Andre Iguodala, and input from a great team of ESPN Insider regulars like Brian Windhorst, Tim McMahon, and Mark Spears. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with the set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
I am James, Senior Apparel Designer, and this is Behind the Design with Hawks. Hawks is your classic workwear brand. It's designed for those guys that are on the job site. Just driven performance, just rugged and comfortable. Thinking of durability, everything is either double, triple stitched, bar tacked. It's build durable, it's going to perform, it's going to move with you, it's going to have everything that you need in a product. Hawks, only at Boot Barn.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
What's up? It's Kasey. Check out the podcast Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, wherever you get your podcast.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NBA play-in tournament continues tonight with a doubleheader of winner-go-home matchups. First up, Bulls visit the Raptors. The home teams went 3-0 in the regular season series, and that trend will hold up tonight with Toronto getting the win, believes ESPN basketball analyst Monica McNutt.
This is a team that led the league in deflections at one point. Anunoby is a terrific defender, and Pascal Siakam is just so versatile in the ways that he's able to score. And the Bulls, they've really, really been up and down this season. And so I'll be curious to see what kind of support DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine get in this one. But I kind of think Toronto's size and defense overwhelms in this particular game.
The winner will play Miami for 8th in the East. Second game of the doubleheader, Thunders-Pelicans. That winner meets Minnesota for 8th in the West. Coverage tips off in 30 minutes on ESPN Radio, 7 Eastern ESPN TV. Arkansas freshman Anthony Black, a projected top 10 pick, told ESPN's NBA Today he'll enter the upcoming NBA draft and forego his remaining college eligibility. He is the number 8 prospect in ESPN's draft projections.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier to help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Jason Fitz and Harry Douglas are Fitz and Harry.
Lamar at this point has made it very clear he feels disrespected through this whole process. He feels devalued through this whole process. He's made it abundantly clear he doesn't want to play for the Ravens. He's also made it clear he's pissed off about the way they've turned the conversation to him quitting on his team. You think money fixes that? No, money doesn't fix that level of feelings. Like, money didn't fix that level of feelings long-term for Aaron Rodgers. It ain't going to fix that level of feelings short-term or long-term.
Please tell me you're not trying to talk on the radio.
Nah, but now I'll say it. I was like, what is it like to have, like, paler skin? Because you guys show up with, like, like no lights. It's a dungeon in here. And I'm looking at the stream, and Kasey was just here, and I actually watched on the stream, and it was pristine, quality clear.
Yeah.
I get in here, and it's all one wall. Like, holy smoke. I can say that. No, I'm like, I can say that.
I'm glad you said it.
And honestly, Kasey could say it because I vouch for him, but I don't want him to put his career
Absolutely not.
on the rocks before it even really gets started.
Wouldn't have said it if you
I'll
made
say
it.
it. I'll say it, man. And look at that. Look at the magic of somebody getting into the system and opening up the aperture. I think that's what that would be on the camera. I'm not sure. But now look. Now I look like Kasey from 3 to 6 p.m.
Listen, lighting and color is a very unique thing on cameras, on video.
Yeah.
And
people.
You said it. And, you know, it takes time to perfect these things. We've spent a lot of time, mostly Aaron, light position.
Yeah.
Light amount of lights. Okay. It's a whole science.
Yo, one more thing since Aaron's in the room. Okay. And I won't reference it verbatim, but holy smokes. Those two things that you learned, Aaron, from last week, that last one that you dropped on maybe another competitor here. Holy smokes, man. I know you got to think about it, but it came out of left field.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was like, anger. Mic drop on a Thursday.
There's been a lot of foolishness happening around here.
Holy smokes, man. Yeah.
But it is what it is. Brian, I'm glad to have you back. Overtime makes his return because I'm going to be honest, I didn't do it when you weren't here.
Yeah, I realized that. And I was like, look at Kasey Kurtz putting his foot down.
Yeah, Liz, sometimes you got to put your foot down. But we only have 10 more minutes in the show today because we have Jumbo Shrimp Baseball coming up. But I have to get this in. Brian Middleton was in Arizona for reasons that I won't tell because he always gets uncomfortable when I tell his life. But you were in Arizona, and you texted me. Was it on Easter or Saturday before Easter?
It was Easter. But it was okay, yeah, it was Easter service, but it was Saturday before Easter, yeah.
You texted me. Let me pull up the text because I couldn't believe what I was reading because I thought my first thought when I received this text was you're duping me. And then I realized you were in Arizona and potentially that this text could be true in which you said, at church with Brock Purdy. Nice guy. Elbow looks good.
Yeah, Queen Creek. Rock Point. That's the name of the church. Rock Point.
Wow, you're really giving away his
Creek.
information. So you were at church with the living legend Brock Purdy. This is real life.
The reason why San Francisco didn't win, I was there with him and the elbow. Nice fam. Look, man, that family.
You talked to him?
First of all, let me just say this. He doesn't look like a big guy on the field, right? But you always just assume that these guys, outside of maybe wide receiver, like DK Metcalf or something like that, even the ones that are like 6'4", but they're like 190 pounds, you're like, okay. Like DJ Chark, you're like, not a big guy. Tall, you get to him, you're like, oh, okay. Don't be 5'10" because you're looking up to him. Anyway, my point is, not a big guy, very unassuming. If you had no idea that he played in the NFL, you would never assume it. And that's not a knock on his like composition, like he's not an out of shape dude. It's just like, it looks like the everyday 20-something-year-old with his girl and his family at at church. I'm like, I was hoping that somehow, some way, I'd be able to record him on the phone saying, "Hey man, I'm Brock Purdy, future Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
And you're listening to my boys Kasey Kurtz and Brian Middleton." But it's probably poor form.
Yeah, it probably was. So
Poor decorum.
Yeah, that's why I have a lot of questions about it.
Well, that's not even the part that you need to have questions about. But go ahead.
You tell us. You know, you go on, because I just want to know: did you really speak to this man at church?
It was a hey hello. I'm talking about he was okay. So the service happens, and I didn't see him there. That makes sense.
Sure.
But afterwards,
Because you weren't looking for Brock Purdy at church.
They have this huge, amazing setup for the kids. I mean, there were food trucks. That was for the adults. There were, it was like an egg maze. There were, you could paint. They had the petting zoo. I mean, like, this place was legit. I mean, if they didn't even have the service, I may have just bought tickets just to go to whatever, this was afterwards. That could have been a whole event.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they were selling tickets. They weren't. I'm just saying they could have sold tickets to this right here.
That's how good it was.
Yeah. Man, it was crazy. And then it was pointed out to me. It was like, yeah, see, I told you. The backstory is one of the people that I actually went with lives in the same neighborhood as Brock Purdy. Like, they on the same street. So it was just like, yeah, I just saw Brock when I was over at his house. He's like, yeah, I just saw Brock. Said, hey, what's up, man? And I was like, you lying. You know what I mean? Like, I said it like that, even though he doesn't really lie, so I don't understand. Anyway, so then, he points him out, and I'm like, well, I will be no Lord. I mean, that's, my side of church, don't want to say too much, too spicy, but I was just like, yo, this dude, Brock Purdy, is right here. And so at that point, I'm like, hey, there's not a crowd around him. So clearly he comes here a lot. Yeah. Or he comes here enough to where people aren't starstruck. And I'm not starstruck by Brock, to be real with you. But it's just cool to be around an NFL quarterback who, again, was the missing piece of a San Francisco team that probably would have won the Super Bowl. Sorry, Kansas City, even though I believed in you the entire year and Kasey Kurtz didn't. Not at all.
All of those
like, not even during the game.
No, not even a little
But Kasey, one more thing.
I live bet the Eagles, as a matter of fact. Anyway,
I believe it. I believe it.
Big time. I did.
You were looking like you were going to win a lot of money.
I was.
I'm going to do a hard transition real quick because I want to give a shout out to Cindy Watkins, wife to Dwayne Watkins, mother to Austin Watkins.
Okay.
Grandmother to Kyler Ray Watkins. And I'll tell you why that's important. Some of those people right there, they were really helpful into supporting me when I got my heart transplant, along with people like, Amber Newman, Lydia Newman, other people that I mentioned on the show. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I ever mentioned them. But Cindy and Dwayne in Austin introduced me to a new sport called cutting. Have you ever heard of that?
Cutting?
Cutting.
No.
It sounds like
bad.
You should call the cops or emergency.
It does?
Yeah, no. As a matter of fact, it deals with horses and cows. So I go out to this thing. I know, right? It was like, yeah, it was crazy. I was everywhere. So I go out to this place where you kind of have, it looks like they would have the rodeo, so they have the dirt, they have people in cowboy hats, there's boots.
It's probably what they sent us for the Super Bowl media party. Holy cow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got explained and introduced to what cutting was. Apparently, cutting is when you're on your horse and there's a pack of like smaller cows. They separate one of the cows, and you, the person on the horse, have to keep the cow away from the pack for a period of time, like 2 minutes.
Cut them off.
And you're cutting, yep.
Okay.
And you're judged not just by if you kept them away, but how well you mirror the cow. There's all kinds of intricacies into it. I was actually into it. Cindy wasn't a part of the cutting. She was a part of the showing of the horses beforehand, got second place. Shout out to her one more time. And I got to tell you, man, I was so into this new sport. I was like, I need a cowboy hat. I see they're selling stuff over there. Are there any cowboy hats? My only beef with that event there was that they sold no cowboy hats.
Really?
I would have had to gone off-site and purchase a hat.
Seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, that's my only beef. But between Brock Purdy and learning about cutting in the horses and the community that is the National Cutting Association, I believe that's what it is. I'm telling you right now, man, hey, some of the best people you'll meet. Again, shout out to all the people I named, especially the boy Dwayne and Yeah, it was just a great time. It was a good time. Yeah.
What a couple of days for you.
It was amazing, Kasey.
Did you get on a horse at any point?
No. I'm sure that the horses have a weight limit, and if it's like none of those people were over 200 pounds. So I don't know if I'm sure horses can, carry more than 200 pounds, but nobody there, whether they were showing the horse or whether they were cutting, they were over 200 pounds. So I'm not going to chance that. And I've only been on a horse a couple of times, and it hasn't been in a while.
So you have been on a horse?
Yeah, my horse riding is like my ice skating. Okay? I can do it. I can't promise myself I won't end it being injured.
That's fair.
Yeah.
By the way, Daniel Kilkenny is glad to see that you made it back safely.
Ah.
And David Sweats, you may know him.
My dough.
Said you wanted Tennessee Vols cowboy hat. I know a guy.
Okay.
So it sounds like you're in the cowboy hat business if you're looking to rep the Vols.
I got a Sharpie. Hendon Hooker.
I can't believe. Why did they name the sport cutting?
Now that's something that I should Wikipedia.
Missed opportunity.
I didn't get that part right there. But I'm telling you, Kasey, yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that sport's not super popular because, it's hard to.
Whoa.
Could you imagine the first conversation that was had with that? Hey, we're going to go cutting. Do you want to come? What? No. What?
Now.
You're calling somebody immediately.
The sport isn't as well known, but I'm telling you, the sport is popular. It's nationwide.
Huh.
Yeah, I know. I did all those sound effects you just did.
Yeah.
Just doing it the whole time.
Yeah.
Watching people they're not going to get a good score. By the way, I know people don't care about this. You don't get a 0. As Austin explained it to me, if you do terribly, the worst you can possibly do, they still give you a 60. The highest you can get, I believe, is 75.
That makes you feel good about yourself.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even though the equation on a real test would be 0, I got 60. To the novice like me, I'd be like, okay, that sounds like a D or F-, but at least you scored.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Huh. Man.
Yeah, Kurtz. You got a cowboy hat, by the way.
Big time.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Get out of here, Kurtz. For real?
Swear.
That you
I don't
wear.
know where it's at. No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I've worn it, yes. I don't know where it is currently. I do have a cowboy hat.
Was this when you were really living, getting back and forth between Indiana? I can't see Florida.
I bought the hat in Indiana. I don't know if that makes it any better.
What's it? Palmetto. I can't see Palmetto Kurtz in a cowboy hat.
There's cowboy hats.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amanda got one?
Unconfirmed. I don't believe so. I've never seen her in a cowboy hat in 10 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh.
I'm going to get one, though.
It sounds like it.
I was supposed to go to, not Barnes & Noble. It was something in Barn in, I don't remember. I got to ask again.
You could just go to Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply. That sounds like something in Jacksonville.
It is.
Okay.
It's over by my house.
Do they fit it like regular fitted caps? Or, because,
I just grab one off the rack. Yeah.
Well, I think it's head.
Pretty similar to a one-size situation.
Okay, because you got regular hair and a regular head, and I got a lot of hair.
You do. Huh.
We should take that for social media. Me going to get a cowboy hat at Tractor Supply.
That would be actually great.
Yeah. Overtime shorts.
Yeah, overtime shorts. And overtime is short because the show is over, Brian.
Holy smokes, I don't even got music.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I built in some extra padding there, so we're not super hard against it, but we do need to get out of here because Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is coming up next. In Charlotte, you will hear from Steven Okert. He talked with Scott Kornberg, and you will hear that in just a couple of minutes right here on ESPN 690. We were going to talk NBA. We didn't. But I will ask you quickly, the Bulls or the Raptors?
Give me the Bulls.
Pelicans, OKC.
OKC.
I agree with both of those. OT Curse.
Oh, we'll play tomorrow.
We're back tomorrow with a longer edition of the show. For the cowboy hat soon to have, Brian Middleton, I'm Kasey Kurtz. Have a great night, everybody. I want to eat a spicy chicken in my Tesla. Is it too much to ask?
Jason Fitz and Harry Douglas are Fitz and Harry.
Lamar, at this point,